Woo! Welcome in, everybody. Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. Let's get your heads right. On a Wednesday, January 29th, we are slowly creeping towards February 1st. I always like to get January in the rear view as quickly as possible.
Inching closer.
Inching closer. February, very short month. It's beautiful. And then you're one step closer to baseball season, which, hey, listen, normally I'm pretty excited about every year. This one is a bit like waiting for impending doom, but you know what? Still got to play the games, as Joe Davis and Oral Hershiser let me know a few years ago. That's why you play the games. Canceled the parade. I'll be using that several times this season, hopefully, if things go the way that they go in my mind for the Los Angeles Dodgers. But
following their 9-game losing streak
my God.
Late April.
I won't say anything until I'm not going to run a lot of mouth about the Dodgers. It's hard to until the like if they don't win the World Series. I'll be nude live on Instagram, you're doing the heli. It will be a scene.
I don't really see a 9-game losing streak in their future.
Me neither.
But, that's why
anything
you play
can
the
happen.
games.
Anything can happen. I'm Woodsy. That's Paul Reindl, the executive producer. Good morning, Paulie.
Hey, how are you?
Doing great. Ben Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor, joins us as well. Benjamin, how are you?
A little friendlier than I was at around, 15 minutes into the Aztecs game last night when I wasn't feeling all that friendly.
This is Foreplay. We've got 4 hours
I'm
to
just
talk
telling
about
you
your
how
Aztecs
I'm feeling.
tizzy.
I'm not jumping into any Aztecs discussion. I am telling you how I am feeling
Today
this morning.
is National Curmudgeon Day, and I celebrate. I celebrate most days. I'm a bit of a curmudgeon. Are you curmudgeonly at all?
No, I would say I do not fit the description of a curmudgeon.
Paulie's pretty even keel. He's pretty much even keel. You have some curmudgeon tendencies. Yeah, I think, I don't see much curmudgeonly tendencies from Benjamin.
No.
I'm about 80% curmudgeon, 20%, good guy. But I'm trying to be better at home. Hannah, too. We both decided to try to be more light. Light is the word that we're kind of using. Light, loose. There's another word she uses, and I can't remember.
All right, to be fair, I think everyone has curmudgeonly tendencies.
Yeah.
The question is, like when someone comes to your boss or your spouse and they ask you to do something you don't want to do.
Subdued is the word we're using. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
When they ask you to do something you don't really want to do.
Sure.
Do you verbally or physically express your displeasure at it, or do you internally just go, I don't really want to do this, but yeah, sure, no problem. I'm more of a internally, I just think, I don't want to do this, but I'll just say, no problem. I can take care of that.
Like when Adam asks me to do something, I physically assault him.
Exactly.
I grab him around the throat and I slam him into the wall.
That's curmudgeonly of
I
you.
was like, shut your pie hole. Hey, boy, I'm not doing it. Okay? Quit asking. That's what I do to Adam.
He kind of has some.
I'm not going to, so quit asking.
I do the hands up
hands
a lot.
up thing.
And the head back. A hands up, head back
Head
is
back,
me. Ready?
yeah.
So ask me to do something. Woodsy, can you cut spots after the show?
You have a physical reaction to bad news.
Yes.
And is that part of the definition of being curmudgeonly?
Yeah, for sure.
I try to at least restrain my physical reactions to
Meanwhile,
bad news.
your insides are like a tornado. Like you're very mad inside, but you're like, oh, yeah, sure, no problem. You grit your teeth a lot. You grin and bear it a lot. I'm not a big grin and bear it guy at all. So I'll just, fine. That's me. I wonder where Taylor gets it from. Yes. Taylor, you still want ice cream? Yes. It's my favorite. It's just the best. He's being a huge a-hole.
You told me that. Okay, I don't think you said that part when you told that story last week about it was just like, you just went, no, I'm sorry. But then you told me privately the ice cream part.
Yeah.
And I think that's the funnier part of that whole story.
Yeah.
Like, what was it? You're like, hey, if you don't change that attitude.
Yeah, you're not going to get your ice cream, right? And he'll start to still pitch a fit, and I'll just go, all right.
That's like some pride.
I'll go, do you want this treat, this special treat? He'll go, yes. It kills me, man.
He doesn't like change the tune at all. Like,
No.
Oh, if there's a special trait, okay, fine.
He just yes. He did it last night.
With your wishes,
Yes.
but I'm going to do so begrudgingly.
100%. Curmudgeonly.
Curmudgeonly.
He's both my children are huge curmudgeons, little turds. Both of them. KG says marriage is just a war of attrition through petty blackmailing. Yeah, you're exactly right.
So you're a romantic at heart,
Yeah,
KG.
yeah, right. No, he's right about the blackmail. Like when I got home from spring training, you know, I wanted a king's welcome when I got home. I always do. And you know, I told my wife, "Hey, if I'm good, can we, you know?" And I was good, and I helped and got everything done, and I was rewarded several times, and it was really, really nice to be home.
Several times?
Several times.
Wow.
It was like Hotel Hannah was around. Road trip Hannah is, I guess, when I go on a road trip Hannah, I guess, is now a thing.
Have you tried ever setting the mood?
Yes.
Like putting in one of those phones with a blinking red light in your room and
I
like
thought,
a mini bar of some sort.
So I told you guys, I was at, when I was at fantasy camp, somebody asked, homecoming Hannah, that's perfect. Thank you, Carlos. Couldn't think of it. When I was at fantasy camp, I had a dream about her, and it was a spicy one. And I texted her the next morning, like, holy cow, babe, like that was incredible. She never wrote me back. She was in the middle of it with the kids, the storm, so about 8 hours go by, and I'm like, and we don't like sext and stuff ever. So it was kind of like throwing out some bait. Now, this is like last Tuesday, so I know I still had 5 or 6 days till I got home. But I threw it out there. She never wrote back, so I was like, oh, great. But I was out at the camp, and the guys had seen my tweet because I tweeted that, and they're like, oh, no Hotel Hannah, because everybody knows the story of Hotel Hannah. You get my wife in a hotel, it's over. It's over. And I told him the story about when we were down for opening day. We were walking out of a restaurant. The guy walks by. He goes, oh, Hotel Hannah. And I started dying laughing. He had listened that morning. And I told the guys at fantasy camp, I go, bro, I was legit thinking about turning my bedroom into a Marriott, just to make it look like a Marriott so that we're always in a hotel.
Little individually wrapped bars with soap in the bathroom, put 2 white robes hanging in an otherwise empty closet.
Put that weird cuck chair over in the corner, the desk, the lamps, the whole thing. The whole thing. And I was like, that would up my chances. But yeah, you know, it is. It's a lot of blackmail. It really is. Marriage is a lot of blackmail. I'll do this if you do this in turn. My asks are usually always sexual, if I'm being completely honest. It's always, okay, but you're going to have to submit. You're going to have to
turn on the TV. It comes on local activities channel.
It's Mario Lopez going, welcome to the Woods household. You will find so many amenities here at your disposal.
Check out our spa on the 4th floor.
That would be the greatest bit of all time. Yeah, it's Mario Lopez. If you go down the street, you'll find several neighbors enjoy the beautiful cul-de-sac out front. You can see the ocean from the front bedroom. I mean, it is truly, man, it is. It's crazy. Now, my wife has submitted to me the idea. We used to do a podcast, and it was called My Idiot Soulmate. And it went really well for about 6 episodes. And then what I realized is not everybody is okay with how we talk, like how we talk to each other, how we talk to our kids. We're a different family. And I told she really wants to do it again. And I mean, really, really wants to do it again. And I said, do you have any idea how involved it is to do a podcast? And she tried to get Paulie. She goes, well, I bet Paulie would want to make some extra money. I go, Paulie does not want to come over here and record us doing a podcast. He doesn't work for us. Like, she sends him on all kinds of errands to get stickers and shirts and patches. I go, baby, it doesn't work for us. He's not going to drive over here and be like, all right, you're rolling, right? And then he's got to edit it and post it.
Did you just give him the clapboard? Like
yeah,
the
movie? Clapboard. Okay, action. And so I just don't know what to do. I can't do it. She can't do it. Do we go to a podcast studio? There's that one that I've been to before down in Carlsbad. It's a really nice studio. It's where Dave Rickards does his latest podcast. But then I'm cutting them in on some cash. Do I really want to do this? Do I want to put my life even more out there? So I'm wrestling with it right now. I'm assuming you have no interest, Paulie, right?
Not really.
Yeah, I didn't think so. So I didn't even want to ask.
I'll do it. That's fine.
You're not going to be our producer.
Yeah, no, I'll produce your podcast.
Where?
At your house.
Do you have the gear?
No, you're going to provide
So that's
the
the
gear.
thing. We don't even have all the gear. When are we going to do this?
I think you should build an in-house studio.
I mean, if we had another room, we possibly could. We don't really have room for it. We could do it in our office, but I don't know. It's just a lot.
You sort of have, where we do like our web streams and stuff.
That's my
you
office.
kind of got your office, and you set that up and make it a podcast studio.
Hannah says, Adam is my intern. Paul is my colleague. If I could get Adam to produce it.
Adam's my intern?
Hey, that means Adam's your intern.
Yeah.
He's all of our interns. So she wants to bring this thing back.
I'll give you a good rundown. First segment of my idiot soulmate, we're talking Aztecs basketball.
Brian Dutcher, hot seat or no? Yeah. So I don't know. I really do feel like I have a lot of power in my hands because she keeps asking me. So I think I could use it potentially as like a bargaining chip. Hey, I'll do a podcast if you know. So we'll see. We'll see where it goes. But it's more involved than she thinks it is. She's like the star. She thinks she shows up, rips the mic for an hour, and then she's done. No, there's YouTube feeds, and are we gonna ask people to pay for it? Like, how's this gonna work? There's so much to do. So I don't know, man. It could be some good content. We'd have some fun with it. Also, people will know for a fact then that we are truly insane. So that's where we're at with that. But we got a lot to get to today. Our beloved Padres are back. They're back, straight up. They're not.
We'll talk about the move that was made yesterday and more. Set the menu. What we've got coming up on a Wednesday edition of Ben and Woods. Quickly, we'll check in with Kelly Danick, some traffic, get your morning started, and then back with more. Ben Woods and Paul on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. right, a little bit of activity from your San Diego Padres yesterday. Nothing earth-shattering, but we will talk about the signing of Elias Diaz coming up. Obviously, it's good news and adds depth at the catching position.
Yes.
Beyond that, I mean, is it a giant needle mover for the organization? No, but
it is funny, though, that they went out and spent money in free agency to bring back a guy that was already here. There's still nothing really new. But I will say, it's wild because when we were leaving the show yesterday, you had the latest in the they said, she said battle going on between the Seidler brothers and Shield Seidler. And then there was even an update after that. And it's all anybody wants to talk about, or it's all anybody is tweeting about, certainly. And then you saw this move come across, and you saw a shift. And people were legitimately excited to bring Elias Diaz back. And I don't think it's necessarily because it's Elias Diaz. It's because they actually went out and spent $4.5 million on a player. And it gave everybody a sense of, okay, maybe this waiting game crap is over and we can make some moves and we go from there.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about it. I don't know that you can read a ton into the operation of the Padres based on one-year signing for a very reasonable salary. That was never something that was going to, Major League Baseball's not, handcuffing any team to the extent. No, you can't add any players
Anyone,
at all.
right.
Yeah, we'd rather see you have no one out in left field and have an 8-person lineup than sign someone to a very reasonable contract. That was never even on the table. There's no restrictions on at least filling out your 40-man roster, which is what the Padres are essentially doing, and we're always going to do. They're not going into the season with a 34-man, 4-man roster, or 40-man roster.
Right.
They're going to add some players. This is one of them, and we'll talk about it. We'll talk about the news that came out yesterday. I have spent way too much time reading every single like the legal documents.
Yeah, you spent
Adam got them for us.
A ton.
And then I spent, an hour plus reading through. I read through all the pages of the original Shield Seidler lawsuit, all of them in the response. And just my kind of bottom line is I do believe that given a little bit of time, a judge, a courtroom, they're going to figure out, what was written down, what it all means, and there will be some sort of, ruling based on all of this. I'm not going to jump in there and say this is clearly going to happen or that's clearly going to happen.
That would be a dumb thing to do.
Everybody's doing that right now. Everybody immediately took sides. I'm just going to say the legal process needs to actually play out. Someone with authority, like a judge, is going to read what Peter Seidler's, documents, trust, and will say, and they will make rulings accordingly. And until you actually have that document in your hands, you don't have a really valid opinion on this. You see arguments from both sides.
Sure. And there's stuff that you read on both sides of this coin and you go, oh, wow, oh, my God. But as I was talking to a buddy about it yesterday, I said none of this mudslinging either way is uncommon. Like, you guys know that. It's not as simple as if you access the documents, this is what you will find. No, it's
a dirty, unfortunate part of litigation.
It's this weird underbelly.
An awful picture.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I may be the only guy that's ever been through an amicable divorce. You know what I mean? And that's what this is like. This is that's what it's like. And there doesn't need to be all of that, but that's where it is. And I think both parties are using some of that to help bolster their case or to help bolster public opinion. Again, I said it yesterday on the show. I've said it like a mantra. I don't know much, but I know Peter wouldn't be happy about any of this. I know that. That I do know. I would not want this for my wife and kids if I passed away. And I wouldn't want it for my brothers either. My brother either, right? Like, it's what a terrible position. And it's interesting when one party passes away, it's fair game. I mean, all you can go on then, Ben, all you can go on is what is via the document. If when Peter passed away, anybody in the organization is now free to say whatever they want. whatever they want. And so is Shield. Oh, no, he told me. It's mine. And they said, oh, he actually told us it wasn't. Prove it, right? Like, that's what it boils down to.
I think that's what's going to happen. Someone with authority, a judge, is going to sit who understands the law, who understands common sense. They will hear the arguments from both sides, and they will make an informed decision as to what should happen here. I can't tell you. I'm not informed enough. You're not informed enough. Padres fans, other members of the media, no one is informed enough on the actual guiding documents of this case to really tell you what's what at this point. So I am going to continue to just say we're just going to have to be patient. Hopefully the Padres can operate and, conduct their business and go forward at least in a somewhat reasonable manner and putting teams on the field and being competitive however long this is going to take. But right now, nothing that I have seen is telling me that this is going to end quickly or this is, going to be a definitive answer right away.
Yeah. I've been confused this whole time because at face value, for somebody that knows nothing about the legal world, doesn't this seem like it should be a kind of a slam dunk for either side? Like, there should be a line of succession that Peter left. He's not here anymore. He can't change his mind.
Correct.
Like, find those documents, and that's it.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, look, and KG makes the point, families literally come to blows over a couple of $100 sometimes. Yeah. Are people really surprised it can get super ugly when millions involved? That's my point. Absolutely not. I'm not surprised by any of this. I hate all of this. I wish none of this happened. I wish that there was a way to make every single party happy and fulfilled in this. I just don't know what it is.
And I think no one really wants to hear this part of it, but it doesn't mean that there's bad people on either side either. I think there's always an instinct that, well, someone, at least one of the sides, if not both sides, they're just bad, greedy people, and they're doing the wrong thing. It's quite possible that both sides believe that they are operating and doing the right thing. That happens a lot in life. Like, you're very convinced that your course of action is the right one and the one you're supposed to be taking. The person who is opposing you is also convinced that what they are doing is the right thing that they are supposed to be doing. And that's why things end up in court sometimes.
Well, do we have any clarity on when a control person will be named? Because
the original report
was that
said
it was soon.
Owners were going to probably vote before spring training.
Okay, that's creeping up on all of us.
On the appointment of John Seidler as the new control person. But does the lawsuit have any impact on that? Will they, change their mind and go, well, let's continue with Eric Encenda as the interim for now until this is settled? I don't know how it works. My guess is they will continue with business as usual, and if they want to approve John Seidler, they will approve John Seidler. He has been nominated officially as the control person. So the next step is probably a vote on that. And at that point, I would imagine you'd have to hear something. We haven't heard really anything publicly other than this, lawsuit response from the brothers.
No, I mean,
you take over as control person of a team. You don't have to answer every single question, but you can't
hide.
You can't say nothing and just, be a mysterious figure behind a curtain for the next 4 years until finally, the lawsuit's done. Hi, I'm John Seidler in 2027. I'd like to introduce myself as the control person for the Padres.
Sorry about that, John. We are in the middle of a lockout, so that will not be happening. We're going to need you to do that in 2028. Yeah, it sucks. I have a lot of questions. Whoever is named control person. If it's Shield, great. If it's John, great. I got questions for you guys. I really do, and I think it's questions that people need to hear the answers to. It's been a rough one to start the season. I think everyone can agree on that. If we agree on nothing else, it's been a really rough start. But again, signing a 34-year-old catcher yesterday did some wonders for the mental health of our fan base, at least on the Twitter world yesterday.
All right, we'll talk about that. Then we'll get into the crazy Aztecs comeback last night. If you didn't stay up for the end of it, Woods.
I did not.
You missed.
You're welcome, everybody.
You missed a nutty game at Viejas Arena. We'll have our regular features as well as we get going. But I want to talk about the Padres. So let's get to a break here, and we will then talk about Elias Diaz and his return coming up next.
California sports fans, good news. Underdog available to play in your state. The best app for your big game party is actually on your phone. It's called Underdog. Underdog, the best place to cash in on all your takes during the big game. Which players are going to go off, which ones are ice cold. Make your entries in just a few taps. With their Pick'em game, you can win up to 1,000 times your money just by choosing higher or lower on player stats, yards, touchdowns, interceptions, and more. Now, they've got all your favorite leagues, teams, and stars to choose from. I actually did a little Underdog action last night, Benny, on the Aztecs in San Jose State. And I won. I 4 out of 6. It's pretty good. I had Magoon Guath higher than 6.5 rebounds. He had 7. I had Nick Boyd higher than 10.5 points. He had 11.
Ooh.
So I was feeling pretty good last night. BJ Davis lower than 7.5. He had 4. These are the things that you can do. It's really, really fun playing on Underdog. Again, all you got to do is pick higher or lower. Underdog, the best place to play. Pick them. Download the app. Sign up with promo code WOODS. Deposit now to get up to $1,000 in bonus cash instantly. Promo code is WOODS. Must be 18 and over. Present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms do apply. Concerned with your play? 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. Good vibrations.
Is that what? Was this intentional,
No,
Paulie?
it's
Like
just the way that it comes up sometimes.
Finally feeling some good vibrations in the Padres offseason.
I'd say average vibrations. I'm picking up average
fine.
vibrations.
I think yesterday's reported signing, it's not a done deal. There's still a physical that needs to be done.
Probably fall through. Who are we kidding?
But widely reported that the Padres have agreed on a 1-year, $3.5 million deal with a mutual option for 2026 with catcher Elias Diaz. Who, by the way, ESPN yesterday, our friend David Schoenfield did the best remaining free agent at every position.
Yep.
He was the best remaining catcher on the market. So Padres landing the best remaining catcher on the market.
He had them linked to Diaz before the announcement
He
came
did.
out, I believe.
He did. He also had them, and we can talk about this coming up. He had them linked to another player that I hadn't thought of or heard mentioned once with the San Diego Padres this offseason. We can get to that.
There's a couple that kind of
in a second.
stood out.
This is the kind of signing that if you want the optimistic, rosy Ben outlook, I can give it to you. I can tell you that Elias Diaz was an all-star in 2023. I can tell you that he's younger and has better career numbers than Kyle Higashioka, has been more consistent over his career, and probably and is a lot cheaper than what the Rangers signed Kyle Higashioka as. That this is a smart and savvy move by AJ Preller to bring back Elias Diaz, and if you know they work well with him and he has a decent season, this is an absolute steal for the San Diego Padres behind the plate. I can give you the Ben Rosie outlook, and none of it is untrue. I'm not lying or making or stretching the truth. I can also tell you that it may not move the needle at all.
Yeah.
Elias Diaz, may not actually help your team very much. That doesn't change the nature of the 2025 Padres and who they are. We'll talk about Dan Szymborski's Zips projections. I think they actually went down a tick when they signed Elias Diaz.
You're joking.
As opposed to, I think they were 0.8 for catching and went to 0.7 after he updated everything with his Zips projections for Elias Diaz. So essentially a non-move by the San Diego Padres.
We just live in the torture chambers. We just live there. Hey, we added a new catcher.
Yeah, I'm looking at it.
You're going down.
I know we'll dive into the Zips later on in the show.
Fantastic.
But before, it was 0.8 with Campusano, Sullivan, and Maldonado as your catching core. And then he says updated for the Diaz signing, and it's just Diaz and Campusano, and it's 0.7.
What about Maldonado? Here's what I think that I saw a lot of this yesterday too. Nothing against Campy, but I saw people like the Padres will literally do anything to not have Luis Campusano as their starting catcher.
That was one of the first things I thought of.
I did too.
I just more like, what does this tell us about their confidence in Campy?
And I do think, when you bring in a former defensive specialist, Martin Maldonado, his defense has really fallen off. But we've been able to catch lightning in a bottle a few times with catchers over the last few years. Maybe we get lucky again with one of these guys. I wonder if Campusano gets in some first base. I wonder if he DHs a little bit and takes the pressure of having to call games and block pitches and catch knuckleballs and do all those things. Take it off of his plate and say, man, all you got to do is sit and hit against lefties. Eggy Rosario's a decent option against lefties too. But put him at first base, couple games. It's depth is really what it is. But I would imagine that Diaz is going to get the lion's share of the work. I would imagine.
I think that's what the Padres would like at this point.
So $3.5 million. That's my starting
I don't
catcher.
think the Diaz signing tells us anything about the Padres' view of Luis Campusano that we already didn't know.
Oh,
the fact that they sent him to AAA at the end of last year and didn't put him on the playoff roster should tell you everything you need to know about the state of the Padres' confidence in Luis Campusano.
Do you feel like he's the type of person that you could potentially sell pretty easily to another team?
Campy?
In a trade? Yeah. Look at this raw power. Some team could think,
bite.
There's something
they could dream
there.
on him.
Yeah,
I think the Padres are still kind of dreaming on him.
Absolutely, we all are. We're still dreaming on Campusano and what he is capable of.
No one in the Padres organization is going to be unhappy if it clicks for Luis Campusano this year.
Yeah, no doubt.
I just don't think they're expecting it at this point. They were expecting it the last couple of years. Okay, this is a guy we really like. He's going to figure it out. The catching skills are going to improve. He's going to become a more consistent hitter, and we'll have a really solid major league catcher on our hands. And it just hasn't happened. There's been moments, but overall, he just hasn't developed the way that they were hoping. Is it impossible? How old is Campy now? 25? 24?
I think is he a little older than that?
Let me see. I mean, he's not beyond the age where you still
26.
So he's not beyond the age where you could still
figure it out.
Yeah. But he's getting beyond the prospect level of where you expect that regular development. If it hasn't happened by now, you can't ever be sure it's going to happen in the future. So they needed other options. They went out and signed Martin Maldonado. That wasn't a great option considering his declining skills, both, never had skills offensively, but his declining skills defensively. Always saw him more as a mentor for the catcher's room at spring training, but
work
not
with Ethan Salas,
not someone you want to see catching 75 to 80 games a year for the Padres. Now Elias Diaz is someone you can see catching at least 100 games for the Padres this upcoming season, and maybe actually, generally in his career hit around 260, 270. He was hitting like 270 last year for the Rockies when he was released because they wanted to get a look at what Drew Romo behind the plate at the end of the season and just let him go. And the Padres picked him up at the end of the year. Didn't do much. 12 games.
Yeah, didn't use it
190,
much.
1 homer.
Yeah.
Didn't have a lot of opportunities.
One playoff at bat.
Yeah. So, we didn't really see much of Elias Diaz last year. But, again, he was an all-star in 2023. Was he an all-star because the Rockies were terrible and needed an all-star? Yes. Did he win the All-Star MVP award for the National League by hitting a 2-run home run to win the game in the 8th inning? He did. Those things are, they are true. They're true. They are part of his makeup.
That's not you spinning this.
I'm not spinning
You're not
it. Those
polishing
things are
the
all
turd.
true. Would I predict that he's going to be an All-Star this year and probably be the MVP of that game again? No, I would not.
I would not take that bet
That
either.
would probably be a poor wager if you were going to make it at this point.
Padres also added a minor league deal with outfielder Forrest Wall. Matt Friars reported that yesterday. He's appeared in 31 Major League Baseball games over the last 2 seasons. Played for the Braves and Miami. Hit .311 in a small sample, 50 trips to the plate. I thought we had that last week. I didn't have that last week.
He's a speedster, right?
I don't know. It looks like he walks a lot.
He stole a lot of bases in the minor leagues. Has had a cup of coffees in the big leagues. And he stole a few bases there as well.
Pinch runner type, maybe.
That's what it looks like. Yeah, some speed depth.
Played more than 3,400 professional innings as a center fielder, logged upwards of 1,100 minor league frames in left field, where there is a hole here for the San Diego Padres. So Forrest Wall, I doubt he's going to be your opening day left fielder, but he could be on the bench for this team.
No, if you're looking at the guys who they signed on a minor league basis, I think Oscar Gonzalez remains the most likely. Yeah. Minor leaguer who all of a sudden is your starting left fielder on opening day. He's done it before, at least on the big league level, and if he has a good spring, my guess is the Padres would be open to the idea of Oscar Gonzalez, being added to the 40-man roster and potentially getting some playing time, at least early in the season in the outfield. Unless they come up with a better option or sign someone else here between now and the start of spring training. I would think that, we talk a lot about Tirso Ornelas, being an option out there. Brandon Lockridge, I know they like him, but I don't think they're projecting huge things. I think Oscar Gonzalez is someone that they probably will give a real serious look to at spring training for an outfield job right now, considering the state of the outfield.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so...
Wait, who did Schoenfield have?
For the what? Oh, the other player.
Yeah.
So this was interesting. He had the best second baseman still available as Jose Iglesias.
Not Ha-Sung Kim.
No, he was the best shortstop available. And he predicted, because he predicted where each of these players would land, that he would end up with the San Diego Padres and that they would move Jake Cronenworth back to first and Luis Arraez to designated hitter by signing Jose Iglesias, which, that surprised me. I did not have Jose Iglesias on my radar at all from last season.
He's a veteran, to be sure. Worth 3 WAR last year.
He had a really, out of nowhere good season that no one really believes is the kind of numbers he can put up. last year. But, yeah, he hit over 300 and in only like 80 games or something. But, yeah, you have the numbers in front of him?
OPS plus was 137.
Yeah, I mean,
That's pretty solid.
He had a really solid year, surprising last year. I don't know
where was he last year? The Mets?
Mets, yeah. I don't know where David Schoenfield linked him to the Padres or thought that made a lot of sense. But
I don't think he's going to cost you a ton either.
I thought the most interesting one in David Schoenfield's piece was in the outfield. He said the best available outfielder is Harrison Bader, and the best fits for him would be the Royals, the Rays, the Reds, the A's, the Pirates, and
Padres.
Yep. And he said Padres, after losing Jurickson Profar, they have the biggest hole. He said this is where the small market payrolls might get their hands dirty, but without Profar, the Padres are the contending team, the biggest hole in the outfield.
We do have a hole out there. When you have a hole, you want to fill it.
The other interesting note from that is you mentioned Ha-Seong Kim. He's the best shortstop. He didn't see anywhere where Ha-Seong Kim could land. He thought he might be unsigned at the start of the season. There's no team that is really busting down the door to sign Ha-Seong Kim, which I feel bad for Ha-Seong Kim. He gets to free agency, had a solid 4 years, gets hurt.
He's hurt
right at the end of his contract, and now no one really wants to take a chance on him, at least at the moment, because he'll get a job. My guess is, someone will lose a shortstop to injury, and all of a sudden Ha-Seong Kim will look like a really good plan. But right now, there's no teams that make a ton of sense for Ha-Seong Kim, at least teams that have the financial wherewithal to sign him to a deal and would make sense to play him at shortstop. There's a couple that might be able to put him at second base, but defensively, obviously, his best value is playing him at shortstop.
Yeah, but I mean, if he's not healthy, I don't think I'd rush to sign newly minted Boris client Ha-Seong Kim to play short for me for half a season. I think that's one. If I was a GM, and even if I had a need at short, I'd go, I got to wait and see. If this guy's health gets back.
Dodgers made another move official yesterday. We can get to that after a quick check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Valvoline Instant Drive-Thru Oil Change, your trusted instant drive-thru oil change. Stalled car northbound 805 before Governor. It's in the center divide. Now getting reports of a collision southbound 15 before Villa Rancho Parkway. No details as to where that's blocking any lanes. Stop by any of the 30 San Diego Valvoline Instant Oil Change centers. You don't have to get out of your car. Usually only takes 15 minutes or less. Plus, get a free courtesy check of your tires and battery. Visit SoCalOilChange.com for directions and discounts. SoCalOilChange.com. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Wood, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Old friend Kirby Yates officially signs with the Dodgers yesterday. $13 million for one season with another $1 million available, I think, with 55 appearances for the Dodgers. It's quite notable that after all the spending that the Dodgers have done the last two off seasons, that they can still drop $13 million
with ease.
No one even bats an eye.
No, in a position they didn't really even.
Yeah, they're pretty set down there in the bullpen.
This is a luxury item. This is an addition that is pretty much just insurance over the top. Hey, let's add one more piece just because we can.
You've got a good seat on the plane, a really good seat, maybe even an exit row. And you go to check in, and they say, would you like to upgrade to business class? And you go, yeah, might as well. I'm here. I got the money. I'll just do it. Well, while you were freaking out about the Aztecs, I was reading our beloved Darnay Tripp's tweet that was full of information, Ben. Sports anchor for NBC San Diego, your counterpart. He said the most Kirby Yates had previously made in a single season was $6 million in 2023. It's good living. Had a great year last year. His total career earnings after 24 was $26 million. We'd all kill to make $26 million in our career, but, this guy's been in the league a long, long time. He could get more than half that this year from the Dodgers. Great move for him and his family, who I love.
Increased your career earnings by 50% in 1 year.
Incredible.
Think about all the money you've made in your life, and then say, okay, next year I'm going to make exactly half of that in 1 year.
Right.
That's a great.
It's a great
deal for Kirby Yates.
And so we know Kirby and we know his wife Ashley, and they're just the greatest people. They were so kind to our show when we very first were starting out. Kirby was one of our first dugout interviews that we ever did. Couldn't have been cooler. So I DM'd her. I told her, congratulations on the gig. I said, it's going to be weird. And she goes, oh, my God, it's going to be so weird on the other side. I go, look, traditionally, I boo the crap out of Dodgers players. I said, I can't boo Kirby. I said, I can't. So I may just look away, but I said, I shan't be booing him this year. She said, well, we appreciate it very much. Thank you guys for always being so kind to us. I don't want him to do well against us.
What is he, like a sixth inning guy for them?
Yeah, right. Like, what does he pitch, the fourth? Roki goes 3, and then you put Kirby in the 4th.
They won't need a lot of middle relievers because they've got such an unbelievable starting rotation, and they already have a really good back end of their bullpen. Kirby's going to go and, it's basically Club Med for Kirby and make $13 million. Probably won't need him that often. He's just going to be out there hanging with the bullpen crew.
That 55 appearances is in jeopardy already because of
hard to earn that extra million, but whatever. Throw it in there. Hey, we've been talking about the Dodgers all off season, but people beyond the Padres fan base are clearly noticing. This was a tweet from national radio host Jason Smith. It says, Dodgers get Kirby Yates. When Steve Cohen spent like this, by the way, he's a Mets fan, MLB put in a tax to stop him because, the Mets can't do this. Yet the Dodgers have been out-Cohening Cohen, and there's been nothing from MLB about curbing it. He says, the fact it's easy to say doesn't mean it's not incredibly powerful. On paper, the 2025 Dodgers are the best roster I've ever seen in Major League Baseball.
Yeah, Brett Boone and I were talking about it at Fantasy Camp. He said, on paper, this is the best roster that there has ever been. Now, there's pitfalls. There's pitfalls with when that happens. We know it to be true. We lived this in 23. FanFest 23. When those 4 guys got up on stage, I grew a foot that day listening to them talk. Watching the way they carry themselves, I thought to myself, nobody beats this team.
Nobody did. No doubt that was the best roster in Padres history.
Yeah,
by far.
And we didn't even make the playoffs. And that remains one of those excruciating years to cover. And then you lose Juan Soto, and you have a brilliant year last year. What is this year going to look like? I wish I knew. I could tell you right now, hey, make sure you stay all in, or, hey, if you have other hobbies maybe you'd like to learn to start playing guitar or piano, this would be a good year for it, right? But I don't know. You still have to play those games. But yeah, it's pretty nuts. We got some comments later. I'll do it and don't do this from Yankees owner Hal Steinbrenner, which shocked the baseball world yesterday.
All right, this segment of Ben and Woods is brought to you by Robert Half. 9 out of 10 hiring managers are having difficulty hiring. Robert Half is here to help recruit professionals and utilize an award-winning AI to connect businesses with highly skilled talent. At Robert Half, they know talent. Visit roberthalf.com/talent today. We've got that coming up. Don't do this. Before that, we'll talk about the Aztecs comeback last night. Later on, another name in our biggest fan contest. 9 o'clock, be listening for your chance to win if you have your name registered at 973thefan.sd.com/biggest fan. Chance to win the 20-person night at a Padres game in the Odyssey Suite coming up this season. So make sure you're registered, and we'll have another name for you at 9 o'clock. All right, we'll come back. The Aztecs trailed by 21 points to lowly San Jose State last night. What happened after that? Find out next on The Fan. I think it's no longer just a weird trend for the 2025 Aztecs, 2024-2025 Aztecs. They're not as good a team at home.
No.
At Viejas Arena. They do not play well on their home floor, which is so bizarre. I mean, college basketball inherently comes with giant home court advantages.
Yep.
I mean, the whole metric system is weighted toward, home court. Only a top 30 game is considered a quad one at home because you just have such huge advantages in college basketball playing at home in front of your own crowd, your own facilities, without the travel. And playing on the road is like impossible usually in college basketball. And this year's Aztecs team just flipped that. They're 7-2 on road and neutral games. They've lost 3 home games already. They've lost 6 the past 5 years combined, and they nearly made it number 4. In fact, it certainly looked like they were careening toward their 4th home loss, and one that probably would have knocked them well off even the bubble for the NCAA tournament. A quad 4 hideous home loss to San Jose State last night.
Oh, that would have been. It would have. The season then comes down to 4 days in Vegas in the Mountain West.
Very likely.
You mean Larry Bird and the San Jose State last night? My God!
Game starts, and I'm never stunned when the other team comes out, hits a couple of shots because
we are used to that.
Seems to happen every single game, and it happened last night. The kid's name for the San Jose State Spartans was Josh Aduje.
Unreal.
In the first 7 minutes, Aduje scored 16 points on his own.
Out of 16 of their 19
against one of the best defenses in college basketball. A defense that rarely gives up 16 to anyone for a whole game. Gave up 16 to one kid in 7 minutes. And the rest of his teammates were almost as hot. They could not miss. San Jose State made 9 3-pointers in the first half. San Diego State averages giving up 7 a game for the whole season. And usually they like to keep it to 5 or less is, I think, their goal. 9 in the first half as the Spartans built as many as a 21-point lead. 13 minutes into the game. Aztecs were down 21 points on their home floor. Viejas Arena sounded like a morgue through my television. Everyone was stunned by this. The Aztecs were 14.5-point favorites. What was going on? Well, it wasn't just San Jose State's hot shooting. The Aztecs looked completely out of sorts offensively.
Was the ball covered with oil or something? Because every time they touched it, it was like, and it was like a Keystone Cups every time.
There was one. I had to go back in the game log. There was one sequence in the first half where on 7 straight trips down the floor, the Aztecs turned the ball over.
Yeah, dude. They had 11 in the first half,
Yeah,
right?
They were on pace at one point for 36 turnovers.
Oh, my God.
This is a team that's had as few as 3 or 4 in a game sometimes. They were on pace for 36 turnovers in the first half. And it seemed pretty clear to me what was happening. San Jose State came out both energetic, on fire, making their shots. They were making quick moves. They were passing, distributing the ball well. San Jose State played a good first half. It also then got in the Aztecs' head. They started putting pressure on themselves on offense, knowing, we better be perfect or we're going to fall way behind. Well, you could see them just hesitating. They'd shoot an early 3, and that didn't work. And then they'd have an open 3, and they'd pass it up and drive.
Dude, I texted you.
And turn it over. It's whatever bad decision they could make on offense, they made it.
You told the story last week of Brian Dutcher being over this with them. He's over. You guys launching 3-pointers with 20 on the shot clock from 10 feet beyond the arc. He's over it. And in fact, he was so over it, he brought out little dummies and stuck them all over the floor saying, hey, this is where you guys are shooting from. Look at it from my perspective. Look at it from this perspective. You've got to get better shots. You need to get closer shots. Work the ball inside, whatever you want to do, but you cannot be chucking these threes from these spots. And, the kids look at it and go, oh, wow, that's bad. And then they did the same thing. Just launching threes, plenty of time left in the shot clock, deep outside of 3-point range. And it just went, oh, God, they're panicking. You watch them panic.
So they pulled within 12 at the half, went on a 11-0 run, Okay, maybe you can get back into this game. You're at home.
Couple shots, couple stops.
They were down what at half?
12.
12. Yeah, that's when
I was like,
that's when I called.
I was like happy. Like, okay, 12. At least it's not 20. It's 12. You can make up 12 and a half. They quickly got it down to 7 to start the second half. And I go, all right, I guess they're going to come back and win this game. And then San Jose State caught fire again. And they continued to make threes. They ended up making 15 threes in the game. They increased the lead back to 16 points. And at that point, I just went, all right, it's not happening.
He was very dejected.
It's not their night. It's San Jose State's night. It's not San Diego State's
right
night.
There with them. I mean, they made their run. They were like, okay, you got it. And then you just were like, that was your kind of your last chance. You let San Jose State get up another 6-7 points on you, and it was over.
I texted the guys last night, and I said, well, this game has been terrible. I'm going to bed. And I said, I hope they come back. Ben says, not going to happen. He was very dejected. Paulie said they had a chance. This has L written all over it. Season now comes down to a weekend in Vegas for the Mountain West Conference. And then I woke up this morning at like 1, looked at my phone, and Paulie says, I can't believe this. Ben says, now go ahead and cover. Woods could be shocked when he wakes up. Aztecs just took a 63-62 lead at this moment, Woodsy. Ben says, I'm awake and I'm shocked. Paul says, one of the craziest games I've ever seen. Holy S.
I mean,
I missed all of it.
When you went to sleep, literally like 30 seconds later, they were in the lead. It was incredible. They just and you'd say
I think they used an 18-0 run.
Oh my God.
And you can say don't shoot those long threes. Well, they shot them and they made them. Yeah, I mean,
I guess if you shoot them, don't miss them.
Miles Bird, who was missing in the first half, couldn't find him. He had nothing going in the first half. Became Miles Bird again in the second half.
13 points, all in the second half. Nick Boyd had some big moments, 11 points, but 9 rebounds and 5 assists. But the Aztecs do not win that game. They don't even come close to being in that game. Wasn't for Magungwa.
The GOAT.
Saved him in the first half, had 14 points in the first half, finished with 24 and 6 rebounds, made some threes, himself in the first half, even like a step back one. He looked like...
Feeling it.
He looked like a next-level player last night for San Diego State as a freshman. A 7-footer who was all over the court, slam dunks, three-pointers, rebounds, block shots, doing everything for San Diego State and keeping him in that game.
I'm reading
last night.
Some of the game notes here. 21-point comeback was the largest overcome to win by the Aztecs in a home game since 96-97 season. They trailed by 16 points in the second half with 12 and a half minutes remaining. 57-41, and then the Aztecs won on a 30-11 run to finish out the game.
Crazy, man. Crazy. All right, so look at it objectively. Good win, something to be. I mean,
win.
It's a win. You don't complain about wins, right? You never complain about dubs. We don't do that on this show.
But where do college basketball teams can?
They do. But where do you stand?
Well,
where do you stand
metrically, it was a bad win.
Yeah.
Even though anyone
it would have been a
horrible loss.
Anyone that's
but
an
it's a bad
Aztecs
win.
fan will take it because the alternative was a horrible loss.
Yeah.
Still a bad win. They dropped from 42nd to 44th in the net. They dropped from 37th to 43rd in the Ken Palm rankings, back toward the bubble. They actually probably hurt themselves a little bit with the win, but way better than the alternative, which, as Paulie said, was a loss that probably
makes the rest
virtually
of the season,
eliminates you from at-large contention.
The rest of the season irrelevant.
If you go and win at New Mexico or at Utah State and you beat New Mexico and you win every other game the rest of the way and lose in the conference tournament, maybe. But essentially, it probably puts your fate into a very dicey 3-day stretch in Las Vegas, which you don't want to do. At the end of the season. You just don't want it to come down to having to win 3 games in 3 days, because no matter how good you are, how well you're playing, how motivated you are, 3 games in 3 days is really, I mean, it's in Vegas for a reason. It's a crapshoot. It's a crapshoot.
The red unis last night. I saw a lot of people online complaining about the Reds. Paulie said he got a text from Buddy, said, oh no, we're in the Reds. That means this is an L. The only other time they wore the Reds this season, they barely squeaked one out, right?
I believe so. Was it the Air Force game?
I think it was. But you have a stat that surprised me.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a history of some bad losses in the Steve Fisher era wearing the red uniform, so there's kind of a doomer feeling about them. I think they're 5-0 now wearing them under Dutch.
Okay.
They haven't worn them much.
Yeah, it's shocking. It doesn't feel this way, but they are 5-0. under Brian Dutcher when wearing the red, 20-5 in their last 25 games while wearing the red.
Not,
Okay,
I mean,
then
there's really no statistical
feels like much
basis.
ado about nothing.
It just it feels like they play terribly every time, but
Kind of like the Padres on a Friday night in the City Connects. There was that streak where feels like we didn't win a game for 3 months on a Friday night
Sunday
in the
camos.
in the City Connect. It was like, what's happening?
Tiny pet peeve.
Or maybe it was Sunday.
And this is probably picking, nits here, but I don't like it when the coaches wear the same color as the players.
Why?
Ryan Dutcher's sitting there in his red pullover that matches the jersey. When you're playing basketball, you're using your peripheral vision. You see red standing there right by the court, you might be inclined to just toss it over there once during the game and throw it out of bounds.
When's the last time you played basketball?
It's been a while, but I mean, you've seen.
1986?
I mean, Paul,
I don't think that's
it'd
a
be
factor
easy
at
for
all.
the coaches to wear black, and then
the
you're just not
players are
feeling
wearing the
like-
same uniform and they're waiting in front of the scores table to check in. Nobody's just passing
That's
it to
true.
the broadcast.
That's true,
booth.
but it's
I got
the
an
coach
idea.
who's standing right there next to the court that worries me the most.
Coaches
don't look exactly.
Coaches go skins.
There you go.
Full skins.
Shirts
Just
and skins.
Pull it off, Dutch. Coaching shirtless would not be comfortable. I think. For
Is that
Brian
like
Dutch.
the nightmare always? Shirts for me. It's shirts and skins. Shirts. I'll take shirts.
Oh, you didn't
Please.
like
Shirts.
You didn't like doing shirts and skins
No.
when you were a kid.
No.
Why?
Because I didn't want to take my shirt off.
How come?
Because
I've seen you in your.
pasty, non-tan torso. My golf tan is really what
Oh,
I didn't like to show
it's
off.
Pretty fugly, man.
Yeah.
The golf tan.
does not look good.
When I was playing a lot of golf back a couple of years ago during COVID, I mean, I would take my shirt off at home. My wife would recoil, visibly recoil. The sleeves here, the neck.
I mean, you have to put so much. If you're a golfer, and like I do, and I wear short sleeves and shorts, you have to put in a lot of work, like in the beach or the tanning bed, to overcome the golf tan. I don't have the time to go and sit at the beach for 5 hours twice a week to overcome the golf tan.
Have you ever been in a tanning bed?
I've never been in an actual tanning bed.
Just put it on the list, man. Put it
Seems
on the list.
boring.
I've never been in a tanning
Seems
bed either.
really boring.
What? Never?
Well, I live in San Diego. It feels
Well,
like
why are you so white?
because I don't take my shirt off at the golf course.
I grew up in the Pacific Northwest where it was just painfully obvious anytime somebody went into a tanning.
Yeah, you're not supposed to be tan.
Bro, we haven't seen the sun in 8 months. Who are you fooling?
Why are you so bronze?
I've never been against it. I've just never thought.
I've fallen asleep in many
Paulie's
a
very
tanning
fair-skinned,
bed.
though.
He is fair skinned.
I'm used to having a tan.
Yeah.
It just doesn't carry all
They
the
give
way.
you this little Playboy bunny, Ben, a little sticker, right? And you put it on your inner thigh and
To
you
show,
tan
how
to show how
different.
different it is. And so you would see.
Do you have to wear those dark
yeah,
glasses?
they're just
and,
little ones. They just
like
go
little swimmer's
yeah.
goggles. And
But I would take them off and just keep my eyes closed, and then every now and then, to be a rebel, open my eyes real quick and then shut them.
you like to court the eye damage
yeah,
that
yeah,
comes
yeah.
with the tanning bed?
Let's see if this is legit.
Great.
Yeah, I've never done a spray tan.
No.
No. I don't think I would either. Get the real orangey vibe, I think.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that.
We got Don't Do This coming up next.
Yeah, I want to talk about the Yankees owner. I mean, what a statement he made in public yesterday and was summarily dragged by one Jeff Passan.
First, I want to tell you about the secret of losing up to a pound of fat every day. It's called SDFatLoss.com. It's a doctor-developed, easy-to-follow weight loss program. You can lose weight fast, naturally, safely, no drugs or injections, no prepackaged meals, bars, shakes, no exercise required. I lost 40 pounds in 60 days when I went through the program. You can do it as well. Lose 10 to 20% of your body weight in just 2 months. It works fast and it's sustainable. I've kept all that weight off. I've never done that before with any other program. This is the one that helped me keep it off because it just changed my patterns and behaviors. I prep my food. It's really easy. Stuff I get to the grocery store, stuff I eat and like, steak, chicken, vegetables, some fish sometimes. It's an easy-to-follow program. And right now, with their New Year's special, you can get $200 off if you sign up before January 31st. Just set up your free consultation by going to SDFatLoss.com. Let them take all the guesswork out. It's good if you're a busy, you don't have time for, you don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to go to an office or everything. You can do it all remotely. So many advantages. And then the benefits for your health, losing weight, looking better, feeling better, sleeping better, less pain. It's all there for you. Give it a try. Go to sdfatloss.com, set up your free consultation. Follow what I did, Scraby, Ello, so many tier 1s at sdfatloss.com. Don't Do This is brought to you by Trust and Will. Don't leave your entire estate, house, kids, and life savings up to chance if and when you die. Do set up a trust or a will online at trustandwill.com. It's a lot more affordable than you think. Visit trustandwill.com for more info. I'm not going to lie. This story I saw yesterday is dark. I mean, it's don't do this, but it's sad and it's shocking. This comes from Colorado, where a 57-year-old man, dad, was watching his son compete at a track meet. He was sitting in the stands, just, cheering on his son, when a terrible accident occurred. They were having the hammer throw, which is, the hammer is the ball, like the ball and chain, and they swing it around and throw it as far as they can.
Yes.
One of the competitors, according to the reports, threw that weighted ball. It's usually 12 pounds.
Oh, my God. Don't do this, man.
It cleared all the certified barriers, according to the organizers, and struck Wade Langston in the bleachers.
Oh, my.
First responders from the Colorado Springs Fire Department arrived to provide aid, but he was pronounced dead at the scene. I mean, how does that even happen?
I don't know. Did he, really get into one?
It
cleared the barriers.
I mean, it feels like, all right, like if you're an Olympic champion, there shouldn't be any possibility of getting one of those
into the stands.
Hammers all the way into the stands.
That's so sad.
I mean, it's just shocking. Yeah, it was high school.
All right, I got to ask. Please tell me it wasn't his.
It wasn't his.
It wasn't his son, I don't believe, that threw the hammer.
Oh, God.
I don't think so, at least. I think he was watching his son competing in another event. But that's just awful.
I mean,
awful.
I'm sad now.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry.
This is a little bit more lighthearted, I guess, unless you're
Everything
a Yankee
would be
fan.
compared
Yeah, I
to
mean,
that.
unless you're a Yankee fan. If you're a Yankee fan right now, you heard Hal Steinbrenner talk about the Los Angeles Dodgers yesterday, and it is odd to hear. He said, it's difficult for most of us owners to be able to do the kinds of things they're doing. We'll see if it pays off. They still have to have a season relatively injury-free for it to work out for them. They actually don't. They're pretty deep.
Yeah, I don't think they have to be that injury free.
Actually, I think they can lose 4 or 5 guys in the starting rotation on day one and still win 110 games. But Jeff Passan, I thought the response to it was pretty great, actually. He said, if the penalties are so tough, then why are the Dodgers and Mets doing it? At the end of the day, these are the New York freaking Yankees. If a luxury tax threshold is holding them back, it says more about where they are as a franchise than it does about the luxury tax itself. When have the Yankees ever played third fiddle in baseball? It's exactly where they are right now when it comes to spending. It's a weird look, and Yankee fans yesterday on Twitter, oh my God. I mean, it ain't great right now here in San Diego with ownership. We know that. But they were coming for his head yesterday, and I tend to agree. I mean, I believe somebody tweeted yesterday, Ben, they made $600 million in revenue last year. That's a lot of revenue. That's a substantial amount of revenue for the New York Yankees.
That is a lot of revenue.
The big
Yes Network.
I would say too. As brand wise, that's the biggest brand in the world. Maybe besides the Dallas Cowboys.
They're usually top two in attendance. I think every single year. And Yankees tickets aren't cheap, and they get all the luxury suites that tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. They're making a lot of money.
I would rather my owner lie to me. I would rather my owner, if it was Hal Steinbrenner, say, guys, we're in there. We've signed some guys, we're making some plays. Just nothing. We haven't had any bites yet, so to speak. But we absolutely want to spend money. You don't have to tell everybody you don't want to spend money.
He also said, I believe yesterday, he thinks the Yankees roster is better
now
than it was last year with Juan Soto. That seems impossible. How could you lose Juan Soto and then be better the next year?
Right.
It's impossible, right?
Never seen that before.
Never seen that. There's no way a team could lose Juan Soto and then be better the next season without him.
Right.
Or it could happen 2 years in a row.
Correct.
Could
never happen.
We'll see if that's the case. They did get to a World Series, though, so the bar is
obviously
pretty high.
He was not traded.
No, he was not, but they did not re-sign him, even though they tried. All right, finally, a little doo-doo this, although...
DD mega doo-doo.
I mean, you can call this a don't do this or a do this, but I saw this headline, and I was actually genuinely, intrigued by the answer. Conflicted Jason Kelce reveals who he'll root for in the Eagles-Chiefs Super Bowl. And I thought to myself, all right, well, I mean, your brother's playing in the game. You're not in the game. You're cheering for your brother, right? That would be the do this. Or is it more of a do this to have loyalty to your franchise, your team? You were an Eagle. You're going to, probably be in the Eagles Hall of Fame at some point.
Yeah.
Do you cheer for your team over the blood loyalty of your brother?
That is a conundrum.
Hear the,
That's a
exchange?
conundrum. Yeah, let's hear
it.
it.
Right.
If the Chiefs play the Eagles in the Super Bowl next year, will Jason root for Travis?
So this
That's
is
not
old.
the question. It says, who will Jason root for? I will root for the Eagles, of course, because I will always be an Eagle,
Such bull.
first and foremost.
First and foremost?
Yeah.
All right.
I'll also root for Travis to have a good game, of course, because he's my brother. But no, I'll definitely be cheering on the Eagles.
Wow.
There you go, Baber. Got what you asked for. Good luck to your Eagles.
That's the end of that question.
Can
Wow.
you do that, though? Can you root for another player to have a good game but
sure.
lose?
Oh, yeah, I do that all the time.
You do?
Yeah, 100%.
Like, you want Kirby Yates to have a good game, but the Dodgers are going to lose?
Sure. Yeah.
You're okay with that?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if he has a good game, they're more likely to win.
Not necessarily.
Travis Kelce.
As we've mentioned, he's probably going to be their fifth inning
All
guy.
right.
So somebody else can give it. Ryan
Fine.
Brazier can
Fine.
give it up
Jason
later.
Kelce puts you to the test. It's a 4-point game. Chiefs are down. Last play, like 5 seconds left in the red zone. Patrick Mahomes goes back to pass, finds Travis Kelce wide open in the end zone. The ball is heading toward your brother. Catches it. He's the hero,
Yeah,
but the
hero.
Chiefs win. Drops it. He's the GOAT. He's
Right.
the new Mark Andrews, whatever. But your team wins. What are you really feeling? Do you want your brother to have that pain and agony
No, I
of being
don't.
the Super Bowl GOAT, or do you just want him to catch it and fine, the Chiefs win the game?
Yeah.
I don't
you're
care
just-
that much.
I think you're just like, holy crap, whatever happens, you're like, that was a crazy finish type of thing.
You never want your brother
And-
to go through that.
And then can I point out just one thing? Everyone's talking about Chiefs fatigue. And someone needs to beat the Chiefs. I don't care. I don't love the Eagles, but everyone seems to be rooting against the Chiefs. Isn't there more Jason Kelce fatigue than anything? I see him more than Travis Kelce. I see him more than Patrick Mahomes. He's on like every commercial. It's Jason Kelce this and Jason Kelce that all the time on my television. I think I have more Jason Kelce fatigue than anything else.
You're
in the
a
NFL.
big Chiefs fan lately.
Apparently, I'm the only person who doesn't mind the Kansas City Chiefs outside of Kansas City anymore.
Yeah, I mean, you like dynasties, Dodgers.
I don't like
Chiefs.
dynasties.
Apparently, you do.
Lakers.
Lakers.
It's
Oh,
not
God.
this is not angering me.
Chiefs,
But the
Dodgers,
Chiefs are
Lakers. Who else? Ohio State. You rooting for them next year?
I did see him in a Georgia football t-shirt.
Ben's like, yeah, it wouldn't be the worst thing if Ohio State repeated next year. Come on, man. No, I think you got to root for your brother always. Family first, yeah?
All right, so you're on a don't do this.
Yeah, I think it's a don't do this.
All right, that's don't and do this for a Wednesday.
That was Don't Do This with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, we'll come back. We can talk some more Padres. If you want to talk a little bit more about the news on the lawsuit, we can get into that. We also have the Zips projections from our friend Dan Zimborski from Fangraphs that don't paint quite such a bleak picture of the Padres season coming up in 2025.
That little blurb that he put out yesterday, again, I saw a lot of people tweeting a bit of relief. A bit of relief as to when they actually looked at it with projections. So we'll see. Here's a do this. You need to call QC Kinetics today. A don't do this would be to go through this entire year in pain again. Pain in your joints, your knees, your hips, your shoulder, your back. For me, it was my hands, my wrists. Didn't know what was wrong with me. Was a little bit freaked out. Did not want to get wrist surgery at 46 years old. Didn't have to. Went to QC Kinetics. Groundbreaking treatments for arthritis pain, long-term relief. Now possible, their regenerative treatments are sweeping the nation, and tens of thousands of QC Kinetics patients like me would tell you, don't wait. Make the call today. Talk to the local medical professionals. They have locations in Torrey Hills and Hillcrest for a free consultation. And listen, it can revitalize your joints, PRP treatments. You don't have to go under the knife. No drugs, no surgery, no downtime. You really won't miss a beat. Talk to a bunch of guys at Fantasy Camp about it. Hopefully QC Kinetics getting a lot of calls because, you're old and you start to fall apart a little bit. These guys can help keep you feeling young again, letting you do all the things that you love to do. So call them today, 619-614-PAIN, 619-614-PAIN. It's QC Kinetics, 619-614-PAIN.
the Odyssey app and listen to 97.3 The Fan. On the app for your chance at the ultimate trip in the Slam Dunk in Vegas contest. All you have to do, download the Odyssey app, listen 1 hour a day to this station, and earn a daily entry into our national contest. The grand prize is travel and accommodations for a winner and 3 guests to Las Vegas, plus $5,000 for each person. $20,000 total to fund the ultimate viewing experience for the first 2 rounds of the college basketball championship tournament. All you need to do is do what you're doing right now, listening to this station. You just have to do it on the app, the Odyssey app, which you can download very quickly.
Yes.
Let's talk about these Zips projections for the San Diego Padres. I need some good news. I felt like this was somewhat good news yesterday. Now, again, any projection model or system is inherently going to have some flaws. You can't, if you could just accurately project every single player, then there would be no need to play the games. And of course, that's why you play the game.
That's why you play the game.
That's why
Cancel
you play
the
games.
parade.
But I was looking at Dan Zimborski's sneak peek at his Zips projections, which is basically kind of like a WAR projection for each player, position group for a team. And the Padres, honestly, came across pretty well. Their starting rotation at the top looks great. He has Dylan Cease at 3.8, Michael King at 3.9, Yu Darvish 2.2, Randy Vasquez at 1.3, Matt Waldron at 0.8. So that's a solid, 12 WAR there from the starting pitchers. For the bullpen as a whole, 3.2 WAR, which is right there with other decent bullpens that I've seen comparisons to. And then in the position players, you've got Fernando Tatis Jr. leading the way with 5.9, Jackson Merrill at 4.8, Manny Machado 3.9, Xander Bogaerts 3.3, Luis Arraez and Jake Cronenworth at first at 2.0, and then you have your kind of the rest of your positions where you can improve. Second base, Cronenworth, Wade, Rosario 1.8, left field, Ornelas, Lockridge, Gonzalez 1.4, DH, Arraez, Rosario, etc. 1.1, and behind the plate, Campy, now Elias Diaz 0.7. So those are kind of the 4 areas, the ones that we've been talking about, where the Padres could probably, at least projection-wise, improve the most. But when you combine it all, and I look at some of the other teams, they seem to match up with the non-Dodgers teams in baseball when it comes to their at least preseason projections statistically.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen them listed as high as 5th in power rankings and things like that. Again, I don't put a whole lot of stock into those. They're oftentimes wrong. They're oftentimes skewed. They're oftentimes, it feels like they're throwing darts at a board. But yeah, you look at it position-wise and you go, okay, like 7 out of 9 positions you feel okay about on the San Diego Padres, and better than okay. I think I think this is with a lot of teams. You hope Manny stays healthy. You hope Xander can find it. You hope Crony is healthy and contributing. You hope Arraez is thumb. And again with some of these guys, you hope they're here. In the case of Luis Arraez, you hope he's here on the San Diego Padres. You look at the bullpen, and you're pretty excited about what you have in the bullpen. I mean, you really are. Like, it's been an area of strength for a while, and you're excited about what you have at the top of the rotation. The bottom of the rotation is suspect. It is, and that's not the case for 20 teams in baseball, 23 teams in baseball. I mean, a 4 and a 5. Yeah, not everybody's going to have a chance, Benny, to put Yamamoto in the 4 or Shohei Ohtani in the 3. You know what I mean? Like, Dodgers notwithstanding, you feel pretty good at least about your top 3 and your core of, call it 4 players. You're like, okay, I can roll with that and fill in the depth pieces around them, some more supplementary parts, and adding another arm to the rotation would be insane.
I think one thing that stood out to me as I'm looking at other teams' projections, for instance, like the San Francisco Giants projections, they got their starters are right about the same at 12 WAR total with Webb, Ray, Harrison, Hicks, and then a platter of other options at the end. Their bullpen's at 3.8, so just a tick right above where the Padres stand. And then their lineup, even even with the Padres pretty much like having nothing at left field right now, their outfield far outpaces almost every other outfield in baseball. Just with Fernando Tatis Jr. and Jackson Merrill's projections, you could put like literally 0 WAR in left field, and the Padres are still going to have one of the best outfields in baseball just based on those two players alone. No one can really match up with what the Padres are putting in the outfield, and they don't really have a solution at all in left field yet.
So we found the zips from last year that Dan Szymborski did, and he had Machado. He had a mix at third base of Machado, Rosario, and Kim, 4.1 WAR.
That was because of
Manny coming off surgery. Yeah. Bogarts and Kim at short, he had a 4.1. Kim and Cronenworth at second, 3.3. My point being, Ha-Seong Kim, you lose some WAR when he's not on your squad. First base remain Cronenworth, Batten, and Carpenter. Was Carpenter on the team going into the season?
I don't think they had released him yet when the zips came out.
This is
zips
24.
Last year, they were before.
They still had Soto.
Trade.
Yeah, they had Soto, Grisham.
Early December.
Yeah.
But the biggest area of improvement has been in the bullpen. Last year, Benny, he had them as a 0.7 projection, and you still had Enyel De Los Santos, you had Steven Wilson, you had Ray Kerr, Alec Jacob, guys like that. The bullpen is much improved. 3 more wins.
It's interesting because you think, well, the Padres bullpen got worse. They lost Tanner Scott. He was such a key contributor. But if you go like year over year, look at the roster last January 29th for the San Diego Padres. I think it's pretty clear that the roster today is better than it was on January 29th.
Yes.
You have, obviously, Dylan Cease, Luis Arraez, Jason Adam, guys who weren't here a year ago that are...
Jackson Merrill,
we didn't know what he was, but,
we did not know in January. It wasn't really even a thought that he would actually be the
make
starting
the
center
team.
fielder.
Correct. I mean, year over year, the Padres are actually in a much better place than they were going into last year's season.
Agreed. You have more clarity on some of your slots, center field being one of them. Michael King. I mean, that's another one. We didn't know what to expect from Michael King. Michael King is fantastic, man. Dylan Cease is a horse. I mean, that's the thing is we're talking about adding a 4th or 5th starter. You'd love to do it, but not at the expense of losing your number 1 or 2 starter,
now,
which is the rumor.
I don't see them making the kind of additions they did. There's no more Dylan Ceases and Luis Arraezes out there, and even if there was, I don't know that you have the trade capital or the financial capital to add, a player with a big salary or anything like that. Yeah. So they're more likely to have to go into the season looking more like they did on January 29th than they did last year when they still had a number of most. I don't think they even had Jurickson signed on January 29th last year. I mean, year over year, this is an improvement from January 29th of last year.
Yeah,
but we're not comparing. We're comparing it to what they look like in September and October.
Right.
But January to January, the Padres are actually, I would say, quite a bit better than they were last year.
And, you saw the move yesterday. If you missed it, they got Elias Diaz back, $3.5 million, 1-year deal, I think, with an option for a second year, Ben. Okay, that's something. It's a sign of life. I don't know that it opens the floodgates for A.J. Preller right now to go out and make moves. But, again, it's going to be tough for me to swallow losing one of those guys at the top of the rotation. I understand it if it happens, but it doesn't mean I want it to happen. You're a better team with Cease and King at the top, certainly in a healthy Yu Darvish, than you would be trading Dylan Cease for a left fielder and a bottom of the rotation guy. I think he's tried.
Projection-wise, so Cease is projected for 3.9 WAR.
Yep.
Can you get a 2 WAR left fielder and a 2 WAR designated hitter for Dylan Cease? Because if you could, then theoretically your team would be better off by 0.1 WAR if you made that trade.
Theoretically, but
in reality, does it play out that way? Mathematically, though, projection-wise, there are ways that you could on paper make your team better by trading Dylan Cease. I can't tell you, though, that it'll actually pan out that way. But that's why you consider it right now.
You sure wouldn't help your rotation even a little by trading Dylan Cease. So that's kind of what it boils down to me. You can't win. You can't win without starting pitching, and if you lose 1 or 2 or one of the King or Cease at the top, it's going to be hard to stomach.
I was thinking about it. There's been so much pretty much negative speculation on what the roster is going to look like, what trades are going to happen. We haven't had a whole lot of positive things to discuss, predict, or anything like that heading into the next season. But how important of a season is this for Fernando Tatis Jr., who we assume is fully healthy, right? I mean, he was healthy great. In what, August? He was the leg injury.
Healthy-ish.
He wasn't. I don't think he was 100% even in the playoffs. I think he was still limited by the stress reaction in his leg all the way through. But theoretically, with an off season, that's something that should be completely healed at this point.
2023 played 141 games. That's the most he's ever played in one season. Is this the year we get 154 games out of Fernando and see what a real full season with a healthy Fernando Tatis Jr. looks like?
I mean, there's no way to predict it. Logic would tell you probably not. I mean, just based on how it's gone for him in his career.
Yeah,
I mean, you kind of have to have it.
This is something the Padres need badly. It's a full season of peak level Fernando Tatis Jr. But you're right, Paulie. We've never really seen that full season of peak Tatis
2021, by far his best season. He played in 130 games, 42 home runs, finished third in the MVP vote. Yeah. I mean, you add another 25 games to that, he could easily hit over 50 bombs.
I mean, just having him on the field for 150, what he brings defensively,
insane.
It's insane. It's the dream.
It's kind of weird that we've never seen it.
Yeah, we need it. This team needs it desperately.
All right, let's check traffic. We can get you updated. Obviously, there were some news items yesterday on the lawsuit involving Padres ownership, and get you updated on where it all stands right after traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
No big surprises on our roads at this time, guys, which means, of course, you're still going to see a lot of the usual slowing in the usual spots, but at least nothing getting in your way. We do have reports of some sort of debris in lanes on the Coronado Bridge, so heading off the island right before mid-span, a cardboard box or something similar, so just take it carefully there. That's, again, heading off of the island on the Coronado Bridge just before mid-span. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Wood, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
So, of course, yesterday it was like during our final segment that Kevin Acey's story dropped on the response to Seidler's lawsuit from.
Walk me back through it.
Sure.
So the day before was
Monday.
It was Monday. Monday, there was an article that dropped from Kevin Acey. Then there was a supplemental piece with responses via email from Shield.
So the Monday piece was essentially an email interview with Seidler, where she kind of laid out some more of her arguments in the background of why she filed the lawsuit. The story from yesterday, that was the actual response legally. They had 3 weeks to respond to Seidler's lawsuit, and they filed in court their actual rebuttal to what she had to say in her lawsuit. And that's what dropped yesterday was the official rebuttal. We've still never really been no interviews with John or Robert or Matt Seidler. Robert and Matt are the ones in the lawsuit. John is the brother who's been named potential control person for the Padres. All I can tell you is our Adam Klug obtained the actual lawsuit and sent it to us. I read through the whole thing, the response by the brothers. And again, I don't know the actual facts of the case. These are arguments, just like Seidler had her arguments. The brothers now have their arguments. And I don't know whether the facts will support their arguments. I can tell you that their arguments were very buttoned up. They had a response for everything. It was all laid out very logically what they had to say. If the facts back that up, then I would say they have a very good case. If they don't, then obviously it's a completely different story. That's why all along I've been saying you can't really have a strong opinion on this until you know what the facts of the case are.
It's weird because I was reading through Dennis Lynn's article in The Athletic yesterday. She is suing Matt and Bob, but not John.
Correct.
John will be the allegedly will be named the control person.
Correct. Matt and Bob are the trustees of Peter's estate.
Okay.
So they're essentially the people. First it was Bob. Bob then stepped down, and Matt took over. He was the secondary, he was the vice trustee. So he became the trustee. So Matt's the one who
kind of like Katsenda became the control person. There's a lot of handing this off.
So he was made the trustee of the estate. So he makes the decisions for all the assets that Peter left. He's the one who manages those. And his job is essentially to manage the estate, which includes the San Diego Padres, for the benefit of the beneficiaries, which are Shiel, Seidler, and the kids. Essentially, he's supposed to run this, and then, if the estate assumingly makes money, then it pays out money to her so she can live her life. That's essentially kind of the crux of where this all starts. And the lawsuit, Shiel Seidler contends that they're mismanaging the estate, and they're not doing it the way Peter would have wanted and should have been doing it, including not naming her as the control person. They contend that that's not what Peter's wishes were, that they are managing it well and trying their best to, take care of her the way Peter asked them to do it, and they're following all his wishes essentially to the letter. This is exactly what he wanted, and this is what they have argued in response. Obviously, both sides can't be completely true, but they can also be right from each's own perspective.
All right.
Yeah, you could.
Oh, no. Oh, boy. All right. Take a drink. Take a breather.
You could just pick up and start talking when you see me.
You were on a roll, and I didn't know you were going to have a attack, so I
just need a little water.
I guess I'll say it is interesting because I read through that as well. The official response took me about an hour to read all 20 pages because I don't know any of the legal jargon.
Legalese is tough,
and
man.
It's even the words that you do know. You're like, I got to read that again, make sure I'm processing it all right. How two people can read something and kind of view it totally different.
Yep,
it's
true.
Words.
I mean, and then they countered. I guess Shiel's team countered with a statement yesterday, and again, it's just as ugly as it can get. I mean, it really is.
It was nasty. I felt disgusting after reading it all for about an hour yesterday afternoon, and I just go, this is awful.
I know it's a bit of a simpleton's take, but I'm a bit of a simpleton, so I'll wear it. At the end of the day, whoever controls the baseball team here, I think needs to have a big love for San Diego and the San Diego Padres. Is that too much to ask? That the person that is running this team has the best interests of the San Diego Padres and the fans of the San Diego Padres who have packed that ballpark 65 times last year and are rabid for your team. You have a love to win, to compete, and you love baseball. That's what I want.
I think, and that's been Shiel's argument, that she has more of the connection with the team and the fans. She's been there with Peter, and she seems like she's the more logical person. I think on the brother side, you could argue very logically, when Peter bought the Padres, he had no connection or love for the Padres at all. He was a lifelong Dodger. And then he abandoned the Dodgers and became a San Diego Padre legend, essentially.
As owning a team
a team will make you. Yeah. Now, the brothers can say, yeah, we're ready to do the same thing. We would like, now that we're owning the Padres, we would like to be Padres through and through.
Have they? Have they said?
Well, they haven't done anything yet. Yeah. And part of it, I would imagine, is that this lawsuit is, making it very difficult to publicly say anything at this point.
Yeah.
And will that change or will it not? I don't know. Again, don't really know the brothers, and I'm waiting again to see how it all plays out and what facts come out when, it gets decided in a courtroom. I think logically, obviously, Padres fans, feel a little more of a connection to Shiel Seidler because they saw her, at the games with Peter. Doesn't mean that she is necessarily going to be the better owner or that the brothers couldn't be a good owner. We just don't know any of that yet. So
there's really no way to tell.
There's no way to tell, which is why I am again remaining, trying to remain fair and impartial and just wait on the outcome of what this case decides.
And the fear is this dragging out till I'm 60 years old. That's the fear, and it's just being in flux every year.
So and I don't think this gets us any closer to a resolution.
I don't
either.
An
early step in the case. All right, we'll come back. Half of Ben and Woods still to go here on 97.3 The Fan. We'll be right back.
yeah, halfway home on a Wednesday. Ben and Woods 97.3. The Fan, great to be here with you guys. Thanks for weighing in on the YouTube chat. As usual, always nice to hear from you guys, most of the time. I'm Woodsy, that's Paul Reindl, the executive producer. Ben Higgins is your friendly neighborhood, friendly, level-headed.
Drives people crazy.
It drives people.
I see the comments
crazy.
out there. Stop being so reasonable, Ben.
You do it to me and Paul, too, on, like, texts and stuff.
All the time.
It's this...
Stop being so fair and reasonable and level-headed. It drives us crazy.
It's a contrarian thing you do. You are literally, you're more of a contrarian than Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless. You are like if Skip Bayless and Stephen A. Smith had a child, and that child was on the radio.
I don't see myself as a contrarian.
Oh, you're being contrarian right now. That is a definition. That's literally. See what happened?
Wood says something, you take the immediate opposite side.
No, I don't take the opposite side.
Every time. I could say something as innocuous as this. All right, this is my Odyssey key card, okay? I'm wearing it around my neck.
Correct.
So this is my Odyssey key
card.
I
agree. You are wearing your Odyssey key card around your neck. I'm not a contrarian.
I could say something like this in a text to Paulie, just venting to Paulie and Ben. Man, I hate this key card system. It's dumb. Right? It's just something dumb and innocuous.
It works most of the time.
Ben would say...
I would say it's probably as effective as any other key card system.
He would say, he would write, well, I mean, I do understand the need for security and blah, 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 blah. Or I could say, why does Odyssey make us change our password every 30 days? Ben's like, well, cyber security isn't important. Instead of just saying, I know, it's crazy, it sucks. I do it with my wife all the time. I don't want to debate. I want you to just be on my side. Just say, even if you disagree with me, I want you to go, yeah, sucks. Yeah, sucks goes so far with me, you have no idea. I know, right? Sucks. He always, you and my wife, both, I've said it many times. I have it at home and I have it at work. I'm just constantly being debated. Constantly. So yeah, you're a bit of a contrarian. So the level-headedness, even though I don't always need the other side. Sometimes I just want to get it off my chest. Just say, I can't believe blank said blank. Well, it actually makes a good point. I'm like, if I could come through the phone and stab you, I would. Chris says, Ben refuses to capitulate. 100%. He does not. He will not capitulate. Why don't you capitulate?
I'm happy to capitulate anytime.
Since when? Since when? The next time you capitulate will be the first time.
When someone makes a good argument, I am more than willing to change my mind.
The other thing
I think it's one of my biggest strengths. So many people. Okay, this is just an aside here. In fact, I think it's one of the biggest problems we have in this country. Getting a little philosophical on you. Too many people make up their minds based on one or two things they see that may or may not be accurate. And once they've made up their mind, they get so dug in on their opinion that no number of facts. I could present 100 facts to the contrary of your opinion that you made in 5 seconds, and I can't convince you.
Who's more guilty of that than you?
No one.
No one.
No, I mean...
Run differential. Remember run differential?
Run differential is important.
We had people...
What fact have you presented to me that doesn't...
Our record! The
fact
record!
That we missed the playoffs.
Yes. The fact that we missed the playoffs.
Of course, there are going to be outliers, but overall, run differential is an extremely accurate tool in determining, the quality of a team in the long run.
Totally.
Much better than anything else there is.
Alicia, we are not fighting. This is not fighting. This is lighthearted banter. Have you ever vented? No. The answer is no. He's never vented to us about anything. But, I vent about work stuff and, I can't believe this happened. Ben's like, well, no. And it's just that thing of, the logical brain takes over. And you won't capitulate. You need to capitulate more. That's it.
Okay, fine.
He just capitulated. Very good. Proud of you. This is not an attack.
You're too even keel sometimes.
Yes, sometimes I need you.
I mean, there'll be times where you're on your phone. You're like, we can tell you're in a bad mood. And it's like something, my car just died. Like, got to drop $40,000.
Cars,
and you're just like, it's
again.
so matter of fact, and we're like, it's okay to flip out.
Cars sometimes die, and repairs are expensive. I understand.
I did drive the hell out of it. It's
I do
fault.
understand. Yeah, I do. I drive a lot. I mean, it's probably to be expected.
It's probably my fault.
Probably my fault.
I do put a lot of wear and tear on it. It's the best.
My fault for going 70 in the 65.
All right, say this with me. Yeah, sucks.
Yeah, that sucks.
There you go. You're so good at it. I believed it. I absolutely believed it when you said it. You know what else sucks? Is your boy made a bit of a scheduling gaffe. Yeah, I've been going, as you know, I hired that trainer I told you about. And I went to him before fantasy camp. He killed me. I mean, he absolutely killed me. And it was great. I needed it, because I'm a little chubby and I wanted to not be so chubby. So I got back into the gym with him yesterday. Now, again, I've told you about it's the gym and PB.
With much younger clientele than you.
I'm uncomfortable. I'm uncomfortable before I touch a weight. When I walk in there,
it's nothing but 22-year-old bros.
Dude, the first thing I saw when I walked in yesterday, there's an outdoor deck with all this gear and then like machines. Then you walk in and there's more machines. It's a big, big place.
What's the point of the outdoor?
I'll tell you.
It's to be seen, right?
100%.
That's what I thought.
Because I walked in yesterday and a guy was doing cable rows with his shirt off. And I go, oh my God. I'm in compression pants, long pants, and a T-shirt. And I walk in with my big old water bottle, and I just felt like such a dork. And he's out there, and he's yoked and tan, and I was like, oh, God, oh, God, oh, God.
Yeah, I don't want the gym that has the big, like stage for the weights or the outdoor theater. I want a dark closet where I can go.
Where only me and the trainer can fit in on one machine that can get everything done. So I go in yesterday and actually had it was awesome. I mean, I had a great time. So I'm going to him on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Well, then I remembered I got marriage counseling on Thursday. So I call him. I go, hey, scheduling conflict. I wasn't trying to get out of it. I would actually look forward to it. He goes, oh, no problem. Just come in tomorrow. I can't move my arms. I can't lift. What he did to me yesterday in the gym, Ben, I can't lift my arms over my head. And I can't do lower half because of my knee is shot. So I don't know what he's going to have. What's he going to make me do, like 5,000 crunches today? I have no idea. But so as soon as I'm out of here today, got to go right to the gym.
Woods? That sucks.
Yes. Instead of, normally he would say, well, I mean, you do need it. You are a little flabby and you could get stronger. Yes, that's what I'm looking for. Oh, that sucks, man. That sucks. But this gym, I made a comment yesterday to my wife and she got mad at me for this. I was telling her about the gym. I go, babe, it's in PB. So, think about it. And she goes, oh my God, I can't even imagine. I go, the girls that are in there, gym attire has changed and it's very short and very revealing. And she goes, oh, I bet you like that, didn't you? I go, no. I said, they're out of my league. And she got so mad at me for saying they're out of my league. Does she have a right to be mad? She goes, out of your league? And I go, well, yeah, they're like 22, 23 years old. They're out of my league. I can't. Plus, I'm happily married to you. She got really mad at me for saying that. She's like, what does that say about me? I go, oh, you've always been out of my league, so I don't know what you're talking. What are you upset about? She killed me. I mean, she murdered me.
Woods, that sucks.
Hey, thank you. Thank you. All right.
Like, how short are we talking about here?
How short what?
The clothing.
You
use your imagination.
It's like they wear panties and a bra, essentially. And I'm like, I'm 50 years old, and I'm like, don't be a creep. Like, just don't engage.
Does everyone at this gym, male or female, like film their workouts?
I have not seen anybody filming at all.
Sam Levitt there. He's been a PB guy before.
I don't know. I haven't seen Sammy there.
He would definitely film.
But man,
TikTok.
I'm telling, isn't it uncomfortable enough when you walk into a new gym? Doesn't matter. They could call it. It could be Loads Gym, just for loads, like us, guys that like to lay around watch TV. Loads Gym. And you could still walk in that day, on the first day, and go, I'm uncomfortable, you know? But to go to a place like this where everyone is yoked, they take such good care of their bodies. And I'm in there like bench pressing 135 pounds. It's a little embarrassing, but I'm going to keep with it.
I can see that, Woods. That sucks.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Now he's just not going to engage. This is a new way for him to disengage by just saying, it sucks. This is off-putting. This is off-putting.
Coming up next, I will continue to sympathize with whatever Woods
is going through.
Like a good co-host and friend. I will simply nod and go,
I miss the old Ben.
He's kind of being a contrarian.
Yeah, he's being a contrarian now.
By following what you wanted to do, but doing it too well now.
Now he's doing it too well. You're unbelievable.
I'm such a contrarian that we each have our own daily fantasy sports that we like to talk about.
Yes.
I tell you about Prize Picks. It's a ton of fun. I mean, go with what you want, but give Prize Picks a shot. If you haven't done it yet, it's daily fantasy, millions of users. I feel comfortable there. I know they pay out because I have earned my payouts. I have put it back into my account really quick with Venmo. You can use MasterCard, Apple Pay as well. And when you sign up with Prize Picks and download the app, use the code KWFN. You're going to get $50 free when you play your first $5 lineup. That could be a 2-player lineup. It could be a 6-player lineup, however you like to do it. You're running your own game with Prize Picks. You're just picking more or less on stat projections. For instance, I got the big game coming up. Here's some of the stat projections that are already out. Xavier Worthy. More or less than 56.5 receiving yards. How about Saquon Barkley? More or less than 112.5 rushing yards. I kind of like under, lower on that one. But you do it how you want. Plus, combine the free square. Patrick Mahomes, 1/2 of 1 passing yard. Pick the more and put that in a lineup for your big game and get started right now with Prize Picks. It's fun. It's easy. There's been billions of dollars of winnings already awarded with Prize Picks. Run your game. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for details. All right, we need a contestant for Take on Woods. We had our first ever 1-0 shutout loss for Woods yesterday. So it is possible you can qualify for a trip for Las Vegas. Our phone lines are wide open right now, so if you've never played, want to get in, this is the moment to call. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We'll get started here in just a minute or two, so you won't even have to wait very long. Just dial us up right now. We're coming back here. We talked about the Padres signing of Elias Diaz to add to their catching core going into spring training. So it's going to be Elias Diaz, Luis Camposano, Brett Sullivan,
Martin Maldonado,
and Brandon Valenzuela, I think, is still a minor leaguer that probably will all be in the major league camp.
Wow, look how deep we are at catcher now.
What are we complaining about?
Well, you can go out and sign a proven commodity, spend a lot of money, or you can just throw a lot of stuff at the wall, and just the odds are one of them probably will have a good season, right?
Correct.
I mean, yeah, that is a strategy that teams employ. That hey, if we can't find quality, let's go with quantity, and
100%.
Maybe the odds will be in our favor that something clicks for one of these guys, and they have a halfway decent season. So all they really need is a halfway decent season, Woods, and they will be a chance to, add to the team. It's really very easy to improve on the projections at catcher. That's the one thing the Padres have going for them. It's a very easy improvement by going from 0.7 WAR to, hey, you get 1.5 WAR out of your catching core this year. That's doubled what you thought you were going to get. And that's not even much of a season. I mean, if Elias Diaz hits 270 with 12 home runs, which is what kind of generally has done in his career, you go,
bro, I'll sign up for that today.
Take that right now.
I will sign up.
Take that right now.
270 and 12 right now. This moment.
Not going to be not going to be an all-star probably, but I would take that.
Yeah.
I would happily take that. So, yeah, Padres have at least one slightly less pressing issue than they did at this time yesterday. And that's all we can really say about that.
Yeah.
All right, we got a contestant on the line. Let's get to it. It is time to take Woods. All right, we've got a new contestant on the line. I see Benoit. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Benoit.
Yeah,
welcome.
Benoit.
I like it.
Yeah.
All right, welcome to Take on Woods. This is your opportunity to battle Woodsy for a chance to qualify for our grand prize drawing, which is coming up here in just a couple of days at the end of the month, for a trip to Las Vegas. It is 2 nights at Planet Hollywood, tickets to see the Scorpions. It is their 60 Years of the Scorpions Las Vegas residency show, live August 14th through the 23rd at PH Live at Planet Hollywood Resort and Casino. Get a $100 gas card as well. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. All right, you've got the advantage because you get to pick and know the category before you get started. Here are your choices, Benoit. We've got It Starts with Rock and Roll, 5 song titles that start with the phrase rock and roll. We've got Not Those, These. Those are 5 2-second songs that all include the word these in the title. And our new category today is Naming Names, 5 song titles that include the word name. So it starts with rock and roll, Not Those, These, or Naming Names, Benoit.
I'm so bad at this as it is, so I'll just take rock and roll.
All right, it starts with rock and roll. Hey, you've got that going. You know that every single song title begins with rock and roll blank something. You'll have 60 seconds to try to answer as many of the 5. If you want to pass, sounds like you might once or twice. We'll come back to it if there's time left on the clock. First song is our 2-second song. We'll play a little music for you. Give me that title that starts with rock and roll and the artist, and you score the point there. Benoit, are you ready to play? I'm impressed by your courage here.
As ready as I'll ever be.
All right, let's do it. 60 seconds on the clock. Your time starts when Paul plays the music.
Remember the category.
Remember the category, yeah. Benoit, good luck.
Yeah.
Let's take on Woods.
Pass.
The Beatles sing, It's Got a Backbeat, You Can't Lose It, Any Old Time You Use It. In which song from 1964?
Pass.
Boston literally described exactly what they were. In which song from their self-titled debut album in 1976?
Pass.
All right. Gary Glitter has spent most of this century in prison, but which of his instrumentals used to be an arena rock staple?
Woods is going to get this.
Yeah.
I don't know. Pass.
It didn't chart quite as high as Feel Like Making Love or Can't Get Enough, but which song was the only certified gold record for the band Bad Company?
Rock and Roll All Night.
Well, hey, good guess at least. All right, go back to our 2-second song. All right, Benoit. He was at least honest about his chances in this game. That's a shutout. We'll bring Woods back in. We'll let everyone play along one more time. But this isn't going to be too hard for him, I don't think. But we can make him think that you need to be right on your game. Be very sharp here today.
I mean,
Woods.
I threw up a 0 yesterday.
Yes, you can't do worse.
It doesn't matter who I'm playing
All
or
right.
how they did. This is for me.
All right, here we go. Let's get you back here. 60 seconds on the clock. Your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck, Woods. Let's take on Benoit.
What? No idea. Pass.
The Beatles sing, "It's got a backbeat, you can't lose it, any old time you use it." In which song from 1964?
I'll come back to it. Go.
Boston literally described exactly what they were in which song from their self-titled debut album in 1976? Oh, my goodness.
Pass. What?
Gary Glitter has spent most of this century in prison, but which of his instrumentals used to be an arena rock staple?
It's called rock and roll. I am. Go next.
It didn't chart quite as high as Feel Like Making Love or Can't Get Enough, but which song was the only certified gold
Shooting
record
Star?
for Bad Company?
No, God
that's
dang
my
it!
second song.
Oh my god.
Category would help me, I think. I don't know.
Probably would.
Is that Tom Petty, The Waiting?
No. The
Oh,
Beatles
God.
sing, "It's got a backbeat, you can't lose it, any old time you use it."
Oh my God! 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 Oh my
goodness
God! Oh my God! Oh
gracious.
my God! Oh my God! Oh my God!
Is he still on the line? Because he just qualified. That was a 0-0 tie.
Oh, my
That's good
God.
enough. Benoit, that is good enough. You have qualified for Las Vegas without knowing a thing. All right, the category was called "It Starts with Rock and Roll."
Okay.
So we started with a little more Bob Seger. That was Rock and Roll Never Forgets. The Beatles. Let me hear some of that rock and roll music.
That's the name of the song. Let me
rock,
hear.
No, just rock and roll music. Boston literally described what they were. Rock and roll band. Gary Glitter, Rock and Roll Part 2.
Part 2.
And Bad Company is Rock and Roll Fantasy.
I love that song.
It's a good song.
This is excruciating.
Holy moly.
If I don't get one right tomorrow, we're never playing this game again.
Well, tomorrow is real or fake,
Fine,
thank
Friday.
goodness, because it's Thursday. But what would happen if you go 0 for Friday also? You started the week great with a 5 for 5.
Yeah.
Now, 2 straight days.
Benoit with the qualifier.
Benoit with the easiest qualification in history.
He had none right.
He knew nothing. He had he admitted before he started that he's not even good at this game.
You're as good as I am.
He picked the category well, and that's all it took today. Did anyone out there get some? Did anyone get any of the answers? Am I making this game way too hard now?
I was in the chat. Did people?
Yeah, somebody says, now we understand how the Padres went 24 straight scoreless.
Well, it happens.
Padres playoff Woods. This
It
is
happens.
brutal.
I see a couple of answers.
Benoit is an interesting name.
Benoit.
You guys have heard, you know what I'm talking about, don't you?
Yeah.
Do you?
He probably doesn't, actually.
Do you think I know, or do you think I don't know?
I
can tell you that I've never used them.
Oh, well,
So-
they're not for men.
No, I've never. I've never applied them or whatever.
Yeah.
So, but I actually have heard of them. Yes.
Okay, that surprises me. I don't think I could. I don't think I could get those past the misses. Hey, babe, look what I got. Great, keep them.
Try it.
I will.
So
Actually,
let us know.
Order some off of Amazon. See how that goes.
Paulie, during the break, just brought up a topic, and I'm ready to discuss it because I think it's fascinating.
It is fascinating and embarrassing.
I'm just going to leave it at that. We'll get to that and more coming up after a quick timeout here on Ben and Woods. First, though, Woods.
Yeah, don't go through another year with all your high-interest debt, my friends. Let Loan Pronto wipe it all out for you. Their rapid equity loan makes it easy to pay off all your credit cards or tackle the 2025 home improvement project. We've got a couple that we're noodling around right now, but get cash in your pocket fast. No appraisals, no paperwork, no waiting. Their AI-driven technology gets you approved and funded in as little as a day. Nobody likes to wait. You do something like this, you want your money fast, they can help you. One client was able to get $150,000 approved in under 24 hours, paid off their credit cards, 2 cars, and a personal loan, and ended up saving over $1,500 a month. Low fixed rates, lightning fast transfers. You can do it as well. Consolidate your debt, improve your home, take control of your finances this year. Imagine being credit card debt-free by this time next week. Don't wait. Just call Loan Pronto now, 619-207-4336, or go to loanpronto.com. Get your free rate quote now with no hard credit pull at 619-207-4336, loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Take on Woods has turned into a good European soccer matchup. 0-0 is a new score that is possible in Take On. We had 1-0 yesterday, 0-0 today in Take On Woods. Hopefully you can bounce back on Friday. But again, congratulations to Benoit.
I think, as Josh says, quick trip to the minors to get your mentals right. Yeah, I think so.
It happens.
I don't know what's wrong with me.
Send you down to Lake Elsinore for a day or two.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine.
We'll get you right back up. Don't worry. I had a conversation with one of my colleagues at Channel 10 yesterday, the great Adam Rakusin, who is a terrific journalist, also a huge Padres fan. And he's actually very excited about FanFest this Saturday. He is bringing his kid. They're season ticket holders, so they got the early entry for 9 o'clock. And, I mean, this is a bit of a double-edged sword, but one of the reasons he's so excited is he remembers 2 years ago, 2023, absolutely bonkers. I mean, it was almost like fearing for your safety, that FanFest.
You couldn't move.
You could not move. He goes, I feel like we're going to get some more autographs this time. It might not be quite as crazy as it was. I won't feel unsafe with my child with me, and we've got some things we're going to autograph, and we're going to stand in a couple of the lines and meet. Obviously, still all of our favorite players are on the team.
Yeah.
And by the way, you also will have an opportunity to come say hi to Ben and Woods and Paul. We're going to be out there broadcasting live on Saturday,
10 to noon,
from
right?
10 to noon, and we can even tell you we were told yesterday. 10-10, like right at the start of the show. Jake Cronenworth's going to stop by.
Good.
We can congratulate him on his nuptials.
Okay, don't ask him what you asked Michael King at the Christmas show about his honeymoon.
What did I ask him?
What did he ask,
How
Paul?
did your honeymoon go?
No. You were.
You asked him like, so are you tired or something?
Yeah,
something
no,
weird.
it was like some
No,
weird,
it was not
like
creepy.
It was creepy.
Yeah.
It was very like, so what'd you do on your honeymoon? It was very perverted, as
Did
usual.
you get any sleep?
Jake is, I believe, still on his honeymoon, if my Instagram feed is correct.
Yeah, I think so too.
He'll probably be back. Obviously, he will be back in time for FanFest.
I would hope
but
so.
Appears to be currently celebrating his newlywed status at the moment.
Yeah, it's all uphill.
Maybe
from here,
we should
Jake.
play like the newlywed game
with him.
And maybe he'll bring along his new wife, and we can do that and like get some questions and see how well they know each other.
Yeah,
so
your
far.
question was what? How about those honeymoon activities? Something very.
Right. They were
perverted.
in Thailand and seeing some of the sights, and I'm sure having a very interesting cultural experience.
So, Jake, you worn out or what?
It's nothing like that.
You're going to say something to put your foot in your mouth now that we've planted the seed.
But we'll have Jake on, and then my understanding is that in our second hour,
Woo, boy.
the skipper will stop
What's up, my
by.
dudes? How you
There
doing?
he is,
Good,
yeah.
Shilty.
Mike Schultz.
How you doing, buddy?
He's going to be with us at around 11:30. So come by. I don't know exactly. Are we going to be in that
I have no idea.
concourse where we were? I don't think we've been told like our location.
We were on the main
Scavenger hunt.
concourse a couple years ago. It was canceled last year due to rain, right?
Correct.
So the last time we were out there, we were on the right field side of the main concourse, kind of near, like there's a pizza port over there and like a team store. We were somewhere over there.
But we
No
don't.
promises that we'll be there this week, but we could be.
Could be in a bathroom for all we know. We have no idea.
Scavenger hunt for Ben and Woods at FanFest. A little activity. You can try to find us somewhere in the ballpark.
Yeah.
I'll be in 3 different locations.
Drew asked if we're going to have any of the brass on the show. No, we asked.
Schultz is somewhat brassy.
Is he brass?
I mean, he's kind of the bridge between the players and the brass.
The bridge brass.
Yes.
The brass bridge.
Yeah, he's a brass bridge.
Brass bridge. Yeah, so we'll have Schulte on. We've talked to him since the 24 scoreless.
We had him on,
yes?
I want to say in November.
Yeah,
Somewhere around there.
We had him on once.
All right.
Because he got a contract extension.
That's
We
right.
had him on
That's right. That's
shortly
right.
after.
That's right. And, I mean, look, you know what he's going to say. He doesn't give a frog's fat ass about what the Dodgers are doing. He doesn't care. Like, and I believe him when he says it. I really do. I think he's like, no, I'm going to get my guys ready to compete. And we've talked about it a little bit this week. Yeah, it's wild to see what that team has done and is continuing to do. But it doesn't mean he's going to – I don't see him as a real throw in the towel, let's punt it away. I think he's probably going to go more over-the-top positivity, I would guess, just knowing him a little bit.
There's a couple of months early in the season last year where everybody, fans, media, whoever, we were still trying to feel out his methods, and we're like, oh, he's really not going to ever talk negatively about a player.
Yeah.
No matter what the situation is, he's not going to do that. We kind of had to get used to that and be like, all right, this is just how he's wired. I will say, man, if there's anybody as a manager that can get his guys ready and block out the noise, I think his style
I do too.
Perfect for
Yeah,
that.
I do too, man. So we are not having any of the brass on, but there is the Padres Leadership Forum, 12:15 to 1 p.m. in Gallagher Square. Now that to me is appointment viewing, I think, and depending on who.
We have no idea who.
Yeah, this is a Padres event, so we don't have all the details as to how they're setting it up. We just know who is going to be stopping by our booth while we're on the air from 10 to noon.
But the whole station's going to be out there. So we're 10 to noon. Annie and Elston, noon to 2?
And then Gwen and Chris 2 to 4?
2 to 4?
I think so, yeah.
So, yeah, Mike, it's it is what it is. I usually get really excited about FanFest. This year does feel different. I can't tell you that it doesn't.
I mean, I will be excited if I see Manny and
I know,
Tatis
I will too.
and Jackson. And I mean, we saw Jackson last week.
Yep.
But still, it's kind of a thrill to see him. I got a little thrill when I saw him at the Aztecs game last night.
Yeah, it was
a lot of guys there.
Joe, Michael
Cease.
King, Cease, Jackson Merrill. I want to say I saw Tyler Wade in there, but I'm not sure.
I heard
saw
Ethan Salas was there.
Ethan Salas was there.
They're
doing
currently doing Camp 44. Yeah,
Yep.
working out, a little pre-workout before the start of spring training, which Joe started and is continuing on. And I think everyone feels like it's pretty good team building and preparatory activity for the upcoming season. But someone made the point, I thought this was kind of cool. Jackson Merrill obviously didn't get to have, or isn't going to get to have, a college experience. He was drafted out of high school, went right to the minor leagues. It's kind of fun to see him getting to go to a college basketball game. And, this is his peer group. He is college age.
Yes.
He is absolutely would be like a junior in college right now if he had gone that route and was playing college baseball or just was a regular old college student. Instead, he dedicated himself to baseball and became a professional at the age of 18 when, drafted out of high school and has quickly risen the ranks to become a professional Major League Baseball player. But that's a very adult job. I mean, yeah, it's a fun job and it's one kids dream of having. But when you're a big league ball player, you don't get to really be a kid anymore. Would you say that?
Yeah.
Is fairly accurate.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
You're professional.
Yeah, media attention. You got teammates. You got obligations to your coaches, your front office, the fans.
You can make the argument they're all like big kids. You know what I mean? Like
in some ways, they're playing a game for a living, but
he's dealing with a lot of stuff that most 20, 21-year-olds
you don't
do
get
not.
to make the same general dumb learning mistakes that most college kids get to make very quietly and behind the scenes growing up. You were living in the spotlight. You were an all-star. You were, an all MLB player in your first season.
Yeah.
You will never not have a very bright light shining upon you.
I liked that he was in Peoria last week. I thought that was really cool. He was really kind to all the campers and signed and took pictures. And, as I mentioned, talked to him a little bit. He was super bored this offseason. He wants to be around baseball. So I think it's cool that he's at Camp 44 as well. These guys are ready. They're going to be ready. They're fired up to play. But, yeah, I'm interested. I'm interested to know, what they think about it. Hey, just talking to ball players over the years, they're pretty good at compartmentalizing. Yeah, and just saying, no, I don't. I'm just going to go out and try to get hits.
Shockingly,
they're shockingly
good at it.
Yeah, they're shockingly good at it. So,
all right, we're going to check traffic when we come back. Paulie brought up something that I think is very interesting. It has to do with DoorDash and how you feel when you DoorDash, because we all do it occasionally, but should we?
Some of us more than others.
Is there guilt that accompanies that order and that?
Well, there's a nightmare scenario.
Tap on the app.
There's a nightmare scenario that can play out.
All right, we'll get to that after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
For the most part, folks have been doing a pretty good job of staying out of trouble. We do have one problem. It's a stalled car over the right shoulder of the Mission Gorge Road off-ramp, eastbound 52. I'm Kelly Danek with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
All right, so Paulie, tell your story, because as you were telling us off the air, I was starting to get the stomach churning.
Yeah, the panic.
Feels. Yeah.
I will say, I'll start by saying I avoided what is a DoorDash nightmare, I think. But Saturday night, this was this past weekend, got home late Friday night from Arizona. Just kind of got some things done around the house on Saturday. We did not want to cook, so we thought, let's order some dinner. Ordered from a taco shop in Escondido. Wanted some Mexican food. And there's always been a little bit of... do they actually look at the receipts on these orders that they pick up? Because you don't want to feel like the biggest load. You got nachos, 2 burritos, and you know what I mean? You got to be, you kind of get a little self-conscious about what you're ordering. Now, luckily, didn't order anything crazy. Ordered a breakfast burrito that I was going to reheat on Sunday morning.
It's a good move. I like
breakfast.
The double meal
Thinking ahead.
order. Yep.
And I ordered 2 tacos.
Minimize the delivery charges.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I can see that. All right, that's
and
smart.
I think my wife, Megan, just got a breakfast burrito as well for Sunday morning. So nothing too crazy. 2
breakfast burritos, 2 tacos. Standard.
Yeah. We also, around the same time Saturday evening, placed a order through Vaughn's for groceries.
Okay.
And again, regular groceries, fruits, vegetables, stuff like
You
that.
let people pick out your fruits and veggies? I hate it. I've done it, but I hate doing it.
Yeah, I guess...
I'll get crackers and chips and bread.
Dry stuff.
Yeah, dry stuff.
Point being, we didn't get 2 tubs of ice cream, Hot Pockets, and a bunch of crap. Just your normal weekly grocery order.
Yeah, some carrots, some broccoli.
I get the notification on my phone from DoorDash that says your taco order has been picked up.
Yes.
And I go, okay, they're on the way. Also get a notification right around the same time that my Vaughn's grocery order has been sent out for delivery.
Okay.
And I'm looking at the map and I'm going, oh my God. I can't have 2 delivery drivers showing up at the exact same time. Be like, oh, you're dropping off for this load as well?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Tough one, huh? What'd they get? Oh, yeah. Okay. And then it turns out it was the same driver.
Yes.
Even though I didn't know that.
You didn't double dash.
Did not. Ordered separately through the taco shop on DoorDash and then ordered separately through the Vaughn's grocery app.
But they're connected.
Vaughn's works with DoorDash apparently.
Yeah.
Probably Uber Eats, all the other apps as well. And so our driver picked up the taco order, then drove to Vaughn's, picked up our grocery order, and dropped it all off at our house. And I thought, thank God, wasn't one of those nights where you're like, I need a pizza, I need a couple pints of ice cream. You know what I mean? Nothing crazy. So I wasn't embarrassed by the order, but I don't know what would have been worse. The idea of 2 drivers showing up at the same time, or one person having to go to 2 different stores for your fat ass.
I don't like the driver getting my food and then going in and leaving my food in the car to go get my groceries.
Do you think it was they show up and they drop them off?
They drop them off for you. Yeah,
it's already pre-packed.
Pre-picked. Okay, that makes sense. Have you ever double dashed, Ben?
I've never double dashed.
Never.
I rarely dash at all because I feel, and I don't know whether you should or not, and I don't know whether this is why I thought it was an interesting topic. I generally feel shame when the DoorDash arrives, even if it's something healthy. I feel guilty, lazy. I could have done this myself. I'm making I get it. I'm paying for the service. They're making money. I understand the economics of DoorDash, Uber Eats, whatever. But I feel a sense of shame. I don't want my neighbors to see the bag dropped on the doorstep. I just feel like I should either be making my own food or I should be getting my own food somehow. And paying someone else to do it feels like a shameful act to me.
My neighbor across the street actually made a comment one time.
Oh, no.
Oh, I saw a car in your driveway. I just assumed it was Chick-fil-A, but it wasn't.
Oh, no.
So he made a comment once, and so that stuck with me for a while. The worst thing that's ever happened to me via DoorDash was I was, the 3 times a year I go out, I go pretty hard. And I went pretty hard the night before. And the kids were gone, Hannah was gone, and I said, well, if no one's here, might as well indulge. So I ordered some Mickey D's and
DoorDash.
DoorDash.
Oh.
Yep. which is just the worst. And I had it delivered, and then I thought to myself, I would also like a hot fudge sundae. So I went to Cali. I think it's Cali Cream.
So you didn't even just bother with you wanted to upgrade from the McDonald's sundae.
Yeah, no, I wanted a real one.
You wanted
I believe it was a brownie sundae, hot fudge. It's hungover. I wanted what I wanted. So I went to made 2 separate orders. They both showed up at the exact same time. And I'm watching this collision course of these guys. I'm like, he's on this street, he's on this street. They are turning into my neighborhood.
Mickey D's, what do you got for him? Brownie sundae.
Hot fudge sundae. And I usually go out to meet them. Well, 95% of the time, I go out to get my food. Hey, how you doing, bud? Thanks. Grab it and walk inside.
No, I never do that.
I always do it because it's hard. My number on my house is hard to see. And I see them driving around looking for the house. So I go out and meet them. Sometimes I want to hide it from my wife, so I grab it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
eat the sundae on your way back into the house.
Right. So they both showed up at the same time. And you want to talk about feeling like... I felt like I felt like I was leaving a massage parlor, and not the massage parlor where you get a massage. You know what I mean? That's how I felt when I left. When I went out and got my food, I felt like I left.
Walk of shame.
White Lotus massage parlor.
I really don't want to, cast aspersions, but I feel like it's a slippery slope that I could easily fall into the habit if it's so easy. Anything you want at the tap of an app. 30 minutes later or less, it's at your doorstep. And if I just let myself go down that road, there'd be just too many burritos and sub sandwiches, and it's just too easy. And I will let myself have burritos and sub sandwiches. But for me, it's like, if I want it,
I'll go get it.
I have to go get it. I have to want it enough that I'm willing to myself get in the car, drive to the place, wait in the line,
order it
and get it, and order it and get it myself. And if I have that much desire for it, then I probably do want it. I do need it that badly.
See, I'll go pick it up myself just because I'm sick of always getting the wrong order, something missing from the order.
So the thing that also gets me sometimes, I'll order. I don't buy soda or drinks for my house. We drink water. There's like maybe some chocolate milk for the kids, right? But I like a soda when if I'm going to get DoorDash, I want a soda. Some restaurants don't offer beverages at all. And so I've had to...
Or you get a can, but you can't get a fountain.
Nothing.
Like
nothing. Sometimes you get nothing. And like...
Get your dinner, then you're like, hey, I need you to also stop by
7-Eleven and bring me a Sprite. And maybe some Cherry Garcia as well. While you're there... Just grab me a pint of Cherry Garcia. The double dasher, showing up with your bag of Italian food, but they don't offer drinks, and then a Sprite and a Cherry Garcia.
Big gulp.
My wife said, "Did you get 2 orders?" Yes. Oh, no. She's like, "You are pathetic in every way." Yeah. Somebody said, "If you're standing and waiting outside, you look desperate for food." Exactly. Exactly. I
standing waiting outside your own doorstep for the food
on my driveway. I go down the driveway and I'm like, and I'll wave at him. I'll see and I'll be like, I think that's him. Yep, here we are, right here.
Hurry up!
I'll take it. Sometimes I'll take it from his window.
The couple of times that I have done it, because there's always a time you're not feeling well, whatever. You need food. I always pick the contactless. Just leave it at the doorstep. I don't want to see you. I don't want to talk to you. Delivery option.
Yeah. That's fair.
Ring the bell, and I will come down 5 minutes later and pick it up.
I don't like when they get lost and stuff, and so I just want to make sure I can get them in, get my food, and go inside and eat it in peace. 9 times out of 10, they forget my drink at DoorDash. Literally 9 times out of 10. I see the guy show up with the bag, and I'm like, no drink? I'm no drink? Oh, no, it wasn't on. They didn't give me one. I'm like, son of a bitch. It happens to me 9 out of 10.
Well, I just feel like the places just give them an empty cup, and they don't want to go through the step.
That's probably it.
Fill it. If the places actually fill it and hand it to them.
You're right.
They do that, but they don't. They just do the empty cup.
DoorDash Nightmares.
It's just up to you.
DoorDash.
All right.
I love
we'll
it.
Work out our DoorDash feelings and guilt and everything else. We've got one more hour to go. Biggest fan name coming up next. Don't go anywhere. Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan. All right, Paul just gave me an interesting stat. So far, after 2 days of our biggest fan contest, Monday and Tuesday, both people have heard their name and called in. Good for you guys for listening.
I like
That's
that.
the idea. You're supposed to listen every day at 9,
Just listen all
1,
day.
and 5:30, right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember the times. I know ours is 9 o'clock. We have a biggest fan announcement each day at this time, and it is time once again to announce the biggest fan. Today's biggest fan is Carlos Garcia Jr. from Chula Vista. Carlos, you have 10 minutes to call us back at 833-288-0973. If you do, you will qualify for our grand prize, 20 tickets for you and your friends for a night in our Odyssey Suite at a Padres game later this season. And everyone else, remember, get your name registered at 973thefan.sd.com/biggest fan. But Carlos Garcia Jr., you are on the clock right now for the biggest fan.
Good prize.
Yeah. Let's see if we can go 3 for 3 today.
I would like
Carlos, or if you know Carlos, let him know. Get him qualified for the grand prize drawing. We talked about the Aztecs comeback earlier. I did not mention one thing that I wanted to know. You were asleep by the end. Paulie, you were watching all the way to the end. Did you right to the final buzzer?
Yeah.
So after the comeback, the 18-0 run, San Diego State takes the lead. They actually went up by like six points, I want to say, and looked like they were in good shape. San Jose State had missed, and then San Diego State, I think, missed, and then San Jose State hit a 3, and they cut it to 3 points with like 8 to 10 seconds left, and San Diego State inbounds, and they get it to Nick Boyd, and they foul. Obviously, you're down 3, you got to get a foul. It's the 1-and-1. So Nick Boyd goes to the free throw line and, make one of them, the game's likely over, correct? But he misses the front end of the 1-and-1. So San Jose State has a chance to win the game. But with 6 seconds left, San Diego State played a very heady game. They were, and Dutch had them prepared well enough that they knew they had a foul to give. So they let him dribble off a couple of seconds and then fouled in the backcourt.
Yeah.
So that got it down to 4 seconds, and they still didn't get free throws, so they were on the inbounds on the sideline. So now there's 4 seconds, and San Jose State still needs a 3 to tie the game. So they inbound it, and this time you could see San Jose State's thinking, oh, they're going to foul this again. So the guy takes up like a wild shot with 2 seconds left,
trying to draw the
foul. And they have to no, go ahead and take the wild shot. Wow. It's not even close.
Nice.
And the Aztecs win. They played the end game of college basketball, which can be very dicey.
It gets
the
fast.
Decision of what to do, whether to foul or not, and how it plays out at the end. They played it perfectly to close out that game last night. It kind of got lost in the shuffle of the giant comeback and all the craziness that happened before, but a very well-coached and executed sequence by Dutch and his players. You certainly did not want to find a way to lose or have to go to overtime in that game after you worked so hard to come back from the 16-point second-half deficit. And they actually, as well as I've seen in college basketball, other than, would have been nice just make the free throws, but they didn't. So with the chance that they could have tied the game, San Diego State played that really well at the end.
What is he talking about at all? Why this team continues to get off to a massively sluggish and slow start, seemingly every game. For the last 3 games, I took the opposing team plus the points, and they've been substantial points. Last night was 8.5, right?
In the first half?
In the first half, yeah. So you take whoever they're playing plus the points that they're given, which the game you and I bet, Paulie, when we were at fantasy camp, it was the same thing, but it was like 11.5. We had that locked down within 5 minutes because the Aztecs come out so slow, so sluggish, seemingly every game.
So what Dutch said in the story is kind of what I saw as well in Mark Ziegler's piece in the UT. He said, when they got ahead early, meaning San Jose State, we tried to go too fast. We tried to get 10 points in one possession, and that's not going to happen. As we settled in, started running a little more offense, sharing the ball, moving it a little more, we found opportunities to score. It looked like as soon as San Jose State got hot early, the Aztecs then panicked.
Yeah.
They both offensively and defensively.
Yeah.
They tried too hard to block the 3-point shots. They fouled on another 3-point shot. Just the falling behind tends to make this team make more mistakes.
Just get in that panic mode.
And once they settle in, obviously they're good enough, and we've seen it at this point. They're good enough that they can beat just about anybody in college basketball. They beat Houston, who's currently ranked 4th in the country.
But you can't and you know, look, we're still what, 2 months from the tournament,
month and a half
from the tournament. You can't play that way there. You know, if you get to the tournament,
with fire,
you're absolutely playing with fire. It's remember the comeback Padres. Oh my God! Remember we get down and have to crawl back from 3-0, 4-0, seemingly every game, and it's maybe we could try to score some runs early. I know it's easier said than done.
Can you make the argument that putting yourself in these situations will maybe benefit you later?
I think that's it.
Doesn't mean you want to be in these situations, though. Dutch said, quote, "I've always said this is a gritty team.
Oh, no.
They've got a lot of grit about them."
Grit squad?
Apparently they're a grit squad, Woods. Yeah, they had it again
Whole city's
tonight
a grit squad.
in large part
That's
due to
what
how
good
they
teams
played.
do.
Yeah.
In large part due to this environment we have here, which is second to none. He said, you get down 21 in some buildings, you're going to get booed. They don't boo us. They hang in with us. They
I like
know
that
these
quote.
are young kids playing their hearts out, and they make mistakes. I didn't. And I was watching on TV. It got quiet, but I did not hear Aztecs fans turning on the team during the game last night, which is big. And then Miles Bird, who he's still just a sophomore, but by default has to kind of be one of the leaders of the team because they're really. There aren't any 4-year seniors sitting around.
The fact that he was here last year
makes him one of the veterans. He said after being here for 3 years, because he's a red shirt, you're not supposed to lose in Viejas. It's been a stress to us multiple times. We're not allowed to drop one more in here this year. We've already lost 3 here this year. 3 is definitely way too much. He said we're going to try and value Viejas as much as possible. We just have to clean it up and play a more complete game at home. But they keep saying this.
Again, it's Padres-esque. Remember that?
Yeah.
They could not win at home. It was like you guys go on the road, you go 8-1 or 8-2 on a road trip. You come home and you drop the first 2 or 3 to some inferior team at Petco Park with the place rocking. Again, home field advantage is absolutely a thing. It's absolutely a thing, and typically you want it, but some of our teams here lately, Ben, have been disproving that theory.
And I did hear Mark Ziegler was on with Gwen and Chris yesterday. I was listening on my drive into Channel 10, and he said, as a young team, it's possible they're getting almost too fired up from the fans, from the emotion of inside Viejas Arena. They're trying too hard. They're trying to do too much, and it's a little bit what Dutch was saying about when they got behind and try to score 10 points in one possession. You just can't. You can't do it. Teams will go on runs. I don't think anyone was going to stop San Jose State early. The way they were shooting, they could have been playing Duke, and they probably would have gotten off to a pretty good start in that game. What you can't then do is then play into their hands and start getting all out of sorts on your own game and try to do too much on defense, try to do too much on offense. It was like a 4-point game. It's fine. You're fine. They've been hot. They got a 4 or 5 point lead, but then it was the Aztecs' mistakes that turned it into a 21-point game. Yep. Not San Jose State. It was San Diego State.
Yeah, 11 turnovers in the first half.
So you have to play with more poise, and they actually are more poised on the road.
Well, you see too, man. Like you saw it from San Jose State. You've seen it from every team that's come into Viejas. The team that comes in, they come out and not only scorching, but full of energy on the attack mode. I mean, they go right for the jugular every single time, knowing, hey, we can probably get a lead, but they can't hold it. None of these teams are holding it.
And again, it's a Super Bowl for San Jose State.
100%.
They play San Diego State. They beat New Mexico earlier. They're not a bad team.
Yeah,
they had some good players.
Really
actually.
good players.
Fast, decisive. They had some good players. But even a win over New Mexico now, if you're in the Mountain West, there's one white whale. There's one team that you're going to get up for more than any other team in the conference. And it's always going to be San Diego State. They were in the national championship game 2 years ago.
Yep.
You don't think that means something to these other teams? Like, hey, this is our opportunity to make a name for ourselves. We take the floor against San Diego State. This is the game people would actually remember. If we have a big game, we pull off the upset, people will be talking about us. So the Aztecs always get teams' best efforts every single time.
They got to be devastated.
San Jose State?
Oh, yeah. They got to be devastated.
You can see the look on their face.
I didn't see the second half, but I just can only imagine what their coach tells them after. I mean, again, It's two massive leads that they blew. And again, they played so well, and they took advantage of all the mistakes the Aztecs made. And I couldn't believe it when I woke up and I saw your guys' text that they had won. I couldn't believe it. I was blown away.
So here's what Tim Miles did have to say after the game. And by the way, of all the opposing coaches in Mountain West history, Tim Miles is one of my favorites. I actually like him. He seems like a really good guy. He coached Colorado State for a while. He's back at San Jose State now. Said, what goes through my mind is lost opportunities. We missed 2 inside shots. There was a block charge on a layup in transition all in the last 6 minutes of the game, and we needed a bucket to stabilize things. We didn't get any of them. As much as went right early, went wrong late. We got to learn to close out games. We're close. We're just not doing enough. If we could be a pretty good team. It's kind of what you heard from Air Force. Joe Scott, their coach, is like, yeah, we played really well, but we're not used to being in these situations. The Aztecs are. It's close at the end. They're just better than us in these end game situations because we don't get to do it very often.
Well, I hope it helps in the long run. You know, and of course the long run being in March. You got to get there first, but you hope that some being able to win some of these games like this. Nobody wants to watch those games. Nobody wants to root for those games. Nobody wants to bet on those games.
I was just gonna say, it's not sexy. It's not aesthetically pleasing at all. But if you had to be either a first half team or a second half team, I guess I'd rather you be a second half team.
100%.
Yeah,
right?
100%.
It's, every time you listen to a pregame show, and no offense to Sam Levitt, or it's a tough job, but anytime
Why
you
do you hate Sam Levitt?
I'm not, but I've done it myself. What are the keys to the game? What's the first one everyone says? Get off to a fast start.
Get off to a fast start.
So you always say that.
Yeah.
But Paulie's right. If you had a choice of whether to get off to a fast start
finish hot,
the answer is always finish hot. You can overcome a slow start. It's impossible to overcome a slow finish because there's no time left in the game.
11-point leads with a minute left in the first half turn into 5-point leads. You're like, okay, guys, come on, figure it out. And then they come out swinging in the second half, and you forget about it entirely. But yeah, you'd love to see them get off to fast starts more. But if they're going to ever play slow, I'd rather it be in the first half than the second half.
Absolutely fair.
Because San Diego State, you can take it to the bank. The defense will always be there.
Correct.
The defensive effort.
Correct. The effort will always be there.
We can't help it when guys are shooting lights out from 8 feet behind the line.
Yeah.
That's just, you give them you make them force a tough shot.
Force that shot.
If it goes in, it goes in.
Yep.
But you're still playing your game defensively.
Yeah.
Maybe your shots aren't falling. Maybe you got a little sloppy with the ball. That can all be adjusted at halftime. And the fact that they came back from 21 points last night was insane.
The story of the day is that Ben doesn't like Sam Levitt's pregame.
Yeah.
I think that's probably one. Now we have a beef with him.
It's more of a generalization.
It's funny.
We need our starting pitcher to put up a 0 in the top of the first. No, you need your closer to put up a 0 in the ninth.
That's what you want.
That's the key to the game.
That's true. We were when we were driving home and listening to PGA Golf shot by shot for 6 hours. Ben actually pointed out, he goes, listen to how little they have in the bag as far as what they can say. All right, he steps to the tee. You're going to want to find the fairway here. And I go, all right. So I start listening and I go, oh my God, they're just repeating themselves. Definitely don't want to miss right or left here. You want to be in the fairway to have a good second look at the green. I'm like, wow, I could do this. Actually, I think I could BS my way through a golf broadcast.
And golfers are so good. It rarely changes.
Right.
There's another drive, 300 yards, middle of the fairway. But when it does change, it's exciting. It's like, whoa, we just snapped up to that one into the gallery. It's like
that just hit a patron.
I
know. No, you're right. I think out of all sports, I think I could BS my way through a golf broadcast easier than the rest.
I got some Tom Arnold tickets to give away. First, though, I want to tell you about Trust and Will.
Yep.
Woodsy and I went through the very simple process of setting up our estate documents over our holiday break. Hadn't really given it a lot of thought. Honestly, didn't think I needed it. I don't have that much to leave. It's just, kids get it, whatever. Do I actually need to write it down? You do.
Yes, you do.
You absolutely do. Because even if it's completely obvious what's supposed to happen, if you don't make your wishes known, the state has to get more involved. They have to make decisions for you that you could have easily made by answering a few simple questions at trustandwill.com.
That's exactly right. Make sure to get the trust, man, if you want to keep your family out of probate court. It is lengthy. It is costly. And even with a will, probate is unavoidable. So only a trust can help you bypass it entirely. Make sure you get that done. Very simple to do at trustandwill.com. All you have to do, go in, and again, they'll ask you a series of questions. You put in your answers. It's very simple. Took about 20 minutes to do it. I feel much better. There's a sense of relief that I have from getting this done. Secure your assets. Protect your loved ones with Trust and Will. You'll get 10% off.
Even if your estate's like $500,000. So like a house, basically. Yeah. If you don't put it in a trust, there could be up to like $25,000 in probate fees that you could avoid.
That's exactly right.
You could avoid. So again, go to trustandwill.com, use the code San Diego, all one word, get 10% at checkout and free shipping of your estate documents at trustandwill.com, trustandwill.com. If you want to win the Tom Arnold tickets, call in now, 833-288-0973. He is coming to the National Lampoon Yellow Door this Saturday. Grab tickets at nlyellowdoor.com/San Diego to see Tom Arnold or win them now. Third caller, 833-288-0973. Back with more Ben and Woods after traffic here on 97.3 The Fan. Hi, congratulations to Doug. Won the tickets to Tom
Doug.
Arnold. I believe we'll have more to give away as the week continues on. Thank you all for listening.
Play it if you have it.
Oh, you mean?
Yes, my favorite. One of my favorite pieces of audio that we've ever acquired.
Yo, Josh, what up, man? It's Chad Hanks. This is from your boy Doug. Doug told me you're turning 43, bro. And I just wanted to say, big up your bomba class here, bro. 43 years around the world. John O'Star. I heard you won an Oscar for a animated movie. Look, man, I do voice acting too. Maybe create some sort of Rasta character, a cartoon. I got other accents too. Cockney. Oh, I love. I love you. Man, I could do a bunch of accents.
Totally. Clearly.
I'll get it done if you create a cartoon character. Put me in your next movie, bro. I'm dead ass serious about that. Anyway, have a great 43rd birthday, bro, and congratulations. More life.
Is there better if there's better audio than that, I'd like to hear.
That's Tom Hanks' son.
Chet.
That was a cameo request. For a birthday.
My favorite part is Doug.
Yo, Josh, what up, man? It's Chad Hanks. This is from your boy Doug.
And then he starts pitching himself for a job.
Yeah. Hey, I can do a lot of accents. I'm going to try one. It's going to be terrible. And just completely soils himself when he tries
Here's my Rasta accent. Now here's a Rasta accent that I'm calling as Cockney.
The Cockney. It's so good, dude. He must be amazing to hang out with. Chet Hanks. I love it. I love
accents too. Cockney. Oh, I love you. Man, I can do a bunch of accents.
Oh, man. Totally.
Can you?
Oh, man, that kills me. And
I just wanted to say, big up your bomba class here for us 43 years around the world. Doug.
How's that Tom Hanks' kid, man? This just makes me so happy every time I hear it.
That's probably got to be like 3-4 years old
at least.
This point.
I'd never get tired of it.
That was one of my favorite segments we've ever done.
I'd never get tired of it.
If only Chet Hanks knew somebody in the movie industry that could get him these jobs that
he's
hawking for on Cameo.
Oh, man, he's legit.
Doug.
Yeah, your wife in the chat, Paulie, says, how is Rita Wilson that man's mother? I know. I don't understand it either, but to each their own. Kills me. What are you looking at over there?
I am. I'm looking at this controversy that continues to rage about the Chiefs getting all the beneficial calls.
Oh, yeah.
It had Dean Blandino, former head of officiating in the NFL.
Dean.
Who, the whole story started because his brother, I don't even know who his brother is, but came out and said, oh, yeah, NFL's totally favoring Taylor Swift and the Chiefs.
Dean Blandino's brother. Mike Blandino?
Yeah, exactly. Made some comments saying, oh, yeah.
Is he a ref?
I don't think so. It's Dean Blandino's brother. So Dean Blandino came out and said that is just not the case. The Chiefs are not the referees are not being directed to favor the Chiefs. The NFL is not doing that. And I believe that the Chiefs have gotten the benefit of some calls. I mean, you can't not watch football and think, yeah, they get a lot of calls. But to go from that level to there's some massive conspiracy where, the NFL is sending out memos to every official. How many officials are on each crew? About 10 to 12 officials, I think, on a game day crew. Are they all getting the same memo every week? Like, hey, you got the Chiefs game this week. Remember, it's important to the league that the Chiefs get to the Super Bowl because we want to take advantage of all the Taylor Swift fans and increase our rating. So, hey, if there's a 50-50 call, we want to see it going to the Chiefs. This is what people are essentially believing, right? That's what's going on.
I've seen that.
That's what people believe. Are you telling me that, okay, so every week they're sending out a dozen or more emails to referees?
Jeff says no, Vegas is doing it.
And every single one of them, not one of these emails has ever leaked, gotten in the hands of the Athletic or the New York Times, whatever. No one has spilled the beans on this would be a massive conspiracy involving, probably by the end of the year, hundreds of people who have been directed to help the Chiefs get to their third straight Super Bowl. For what? For Taylor Swift so she can be sitting in the box during the game? It just doesn't It doesn't make sense when you keep asking ask the next logical question and tell me, does it really hold up under scrutiny? Does your gut say the Chiefs are getting calls and there must be some nefarious activity? Sure, we all feel that way. But when you actually ask the question, how are they doing this? How are they pulling this off? And no one is actually finding out and has any evidence.
Jacob says, Taylor Swift draws ratings, Ben. You know what else draws ratings? The NFL. The NFL draws ratings. They've always drawn ratings. They're going to continue to draw ratings. The big game is going to be very, very highly rated, regardless of who's in it.
Is Taylor Swift? Is it possible that her presence drew some new fans and viewers the last couple of years?
It's probable.
Doesn't it seem, though, that had the Buffalo Bills gotten to the game, 90% of football fans would have been way happier and more excited for this Super Bowl?
That's the other thing, too. The Chief fatigue right now is such where it kind of goes against the conspiracy theory. If everyone's truly fatigued by them and doesn't want to see them.
At least I don't believe it, but I hear a lot of people saying, I'm going to Disneyland. I'm going and doing something else at the Super Bowl this year. I'm not going to even watch it.
I saw some of that.
I don't believe you, but I've seen it.
I saw people saying, I'm not watching this year. I don't want to see the Chiefs. And they had the same with the Patriots.
They wouldn't have said that with the Bills. So if the NFL was truly chasing ratings, my guess is they would have been favoring the Bills in that game because people seemed to be tired of the Chiefs and wanted to see something different in the championship
Josh Allen
game.
has a very famous fiance, right? Haley Stanfield. So, I don't know. I think it's dumb, but
I thought you were talking about the controversy or the conspiracy theory that this was all predetermined from before the season even started. People have pointed out that the Super Bowl 59 logo, Super Bowl is going to be in New Orleans. It's the LIX, and
that's
the colors,
59
yes.
Licks.
And
Super Bowl licks.
The colors are red and green.
Oh, the Eagles and the Chiefs, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's obviously show our conspiracy by picking the colors of the teams before the season.
Jacob in our chat is saying that I think your logic, or maybe mine too, is dumb. But he is in favor of the Taylor Swift narrative. He thinks that that's really a thing. He says without this three-peat narrative, it's just another Super Bowl. Look, when it comes to the Super Bowl, I don't know that you could ever couch the Super Bowl as just another Super Bowl. It's the biggest. It will remain the biggest until I can't even think of anything overtaking it. I think the Super Bowl
has the biggest ratings every year.
Every
no matter
year,
what.
they get the most money for the
ads are out $8 million per commercial at this point.
Think about what would have been the worst appealing matchup of the teams that made the playoffs, like the Chargers and the Commanders.
Potentially,
They still would have spun that.
Massive.
Look at this turnaround from the Commanders
the rookie
franchise
and Jim Harbaugh.
Justin Herbert. Jim Harbaugh takes the team to a Super Bowl in his first year back.
It's funny though. I will avoid any and all Super Bowl coverage until kickoff. It's the most annoying.
Yeah.
You're so saturated by it, but man, the pregame for it and the weeks leading up to it it's unbelievable. So look, like I said, I'm going to be locked in on the big game. We all are. We're like kind of prisoners to it. I mean, imagine going through the day without watching that game. Right? There are people that do it, but I'm not going to be one of them. And I'll actually be playing some underdog when the big game's going on. I can tell you that right now. California sports
fan. Ben-esque segue right there.
Many would say it's Woods-esque, too. I've got good news. Underdog available to play right here in our state. The best place to cash in on all of our takes during the big game. Which players are going to go off, which ones are ice cold. The best app at your big game party is actually right there on your phone. It's Underdog. With over 5 million happy players, 2 billion won, Underdog makes it fun and easy to cash in on all your favorite athletes' performances. Yeah, we're going to be all over it. I don't want to post mine again, but I will if you ask me to. But yeah, as far as the big game's concerned, everyone's going to be locked in on what's Travis Kelce going to do. How many? Is he going to go higher or lower than 5 catches? Whatever it may be, I need to take a look. But it's a really fun place to play daily fantasy. Underdog's been great. With their double flex option, you can take 2 Ls, turn them into a win. They have a lot of different options on there as far as teams and sports if you want to go in and choose higher or lower on all of these stats. So it's been great for me so far. Won $23 last night on the Aztecs. Not too shabby, if I say so myself. Underdog, the best place to play. Pick 'em. You have something?
I was just going to say, Paul's got the Reindl Report coming up next. He's going to talk about 2 other Pauls and some awkward audio, which I know you love.
Is it more awkward than cutting me off in the middle of a commercial?
You cut yourself off.
Download the app, sign up with promo code WOODS, and deposit now to get to $1,000 in bonus cash instantly. Use the promo code WOODS. Must be 18 and over. Present in the state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms do apply.
I was going to jump in.
Concerned with your play?
I was going to jump
call
in at the end.
Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org.
I wasn't going to interrupt you. I wasn't going to wrecking
What is
ball
happening?
it. I was just going to come in at the end and tease our next segment like
Then
I'm
why didn't
supposed
you
to
wait?
do. Because Wood said you have something to add. What am I supposed to say? Just no? No, I've got nothing to add here on 97.3 The Fan. Do we need therapy?
Together?
Yeah.
I already go to therapy.
I know you do. Just, I mean...
Multiple versions of it.
My camera doesn't even want to stay on me right now. Yeah, I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to spin you out or anything. I just wanted to...
So weird.
Just wanted to throw in a little excitement for the Reindl Report coming up here momentarily.
Yeah.
And you had that confused look, and you asked me what I wanted to say, so I just jumped in and I said it. I figured either you were done or...
I thought you were going to weigh into my underdog spot, which would be weird.
That would be weird.
Right.
Because I have my own.
Correct. I thought you were maybe trying to sabotage my underdog.
I'm not going to sabotage you. To each their own.
Yeah.
It's always good to have more options.
Sure.
Go with Prize Picks.
Use the promo code Woods.
It's not a competition, but if you like me better, go with Prize Picks.
If you like someone that will actually listen to you and not interrupt you, check out Underdog.
The only thing I know is I think we need to get me a FanDuel endorsement. DraftKings.
No, that'll be good. That'll be good. Like, all right, pick your poison.
We'll work on getting the Reindl Report sponsored by another daily fantasy site. It is coming up right after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
Guys, got a number of problems wrapping up our morning drive. Crash blocking the 2 left lanes on South 15 near University. Also crash the clearing stage on southbound 5 past Civic Center. Those cars are over the right shoulder. Also, westbound 54 past the 805. There is a collision over the right shoulder. And traveling on northbound 805 before Balboa, we have reports of a collision involving a car and a semi. They're over to the right shoulder. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
And get things started here with our today's edition of the Reindl Report.
Now tuned into the greatest.
Welcome to the Reindl Report with Paul Reindl.
Hi, Paul.
All right.
2 stories from the world of sports that we haven't gotten to yet.
We'll start off in Major League Baseball.
And 1 story that you didn't know you needed.
Are you laughing, biatch?
It's the Reindl Report
Hey, Paul, how you doing?
Okay, how are you?
on 97.3 The Fan.
Are you ready to bless the mood? I need some help, please.
That was good.
Can I get a oh yeah? Oh yeah.
All right.
All right.
All right.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Let's start.
But before that, this segment of Ben and Woods is brought to you by Robert Half. 9 out of 10 hiring managers are having difficulty hiring. Robert Half is here to help. They're recruiting professionals
I'm
utilizing
looking forward to getting to the gym today.
winning AI to connect businesses with highly skilled talent. At Robert Half, they know talent.
Start off with some awkward.
Visit
roberthalf.com
roberthalf.com/talent today. Maybe I just lean into my interrupting villain here.
The interrupters.
All right. We will start off with a little sports media. Some very uncomfortable, awkward moments yesterday. This was I'm not familiar with this show. It was on ESPN2, Unsportsmanlike.
Never heard of it.
And Chris Canty and Michelle Smallman and Evan Cohen were on the show talking a little football, talking about the Super Bowl, talking about Jalen Hurts in particular. And Chris Canty is talking about Jalen Hurts, and all of a sudden, the producer of the show, I believe is his role, cuts in.
He's off camera.
Off camera.
All you hear is the voice.
Cuts in with a little bit of fact-checking, and it kind of made for a bit of an awkward moment. Here's what it sounded like.
The criticism that we've all had about the Eagles ain't about the players on the field. It's been about the coach. I had Jalen Hurts as a top 10 quarterback coming into this season. I'm just now looking back at my notes.
You also had him outside the top 10 at one point.
No, I had him as a top 10 quarterback coming into the season. I'm sitting here looking at my notes.
Yeah, there's clips online from First Take and this show of you saying, I don't have Jalen Hurts in the top 10.
Okay, all right, I'm just telling you.
So
I saw.
Is this producer, was he wrong to do that?
No,
Is he in the right?
Look,
as a fact checker?
It depends on
Is
what.
he just busting balls?
It depends on what show you're on. On this show, I don't care. Ben doesn't care. Right? Yeah. I couldn't care less.
I pretend not to care.
Oh, I don't care. I really do not care.
I pretend not to care.
I really could not care less. If Paulie's like, Woodsy, you literally said blah, 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 I'd be like, I did? And I roll with it.
Kind of laugh about it.
I laugh about it. People like Chris Canty. I did see people saying that is unacceptable from the producer. It's not his job. A producer's job is to prop up the hosts and blah, 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 blah.
It can be.
I mean, look, it depends on what kind of show that you run. If you're a self-important, can never be wrong type of person, that's not the right producer for you. You need a whipping boy. You need a guy that's going to keep his head down, his mouth shut, and do his job. I don't want that. I've never wanted that.
I've worked on a show like that.
You have worked on a show like
Did
that.
not go well for me.
Right.
For any of us, actually.
The way I tend to think about it is that the audience is pretty smart usually. And if the audience is likely to remember something that Chris Canty or the host said that was in conflict with what they're saying now, it's best to have one of your own producers point it out. Now, we all have selective memory. I'm not saying
100%.
I'm not saying Chris Canty was intentionally trying to be deceptive and, make revisionist history like
No.
But, at some point he was probably going through, and when he was actually, I have him slightly outside the top 10. And now, that I think about it, he's definitely a top 10 quarterback. I think he's a top 10. Doesn't mean that he was purposely trying to deceive anyone.
I will say, there was a little bit of... if I listen to the producer's comments again, he's a little bit, for my tastes, he's a little bit too fired up about it, a little bit too combative about it.
It's been about the coach. I had Jalen Hurts as a top 10 quarterback coming into this season. I'm just now looking back at my notes.
You also had him outside the top 10 at one point.
No, I had him as a top 10 quarterback coming into the season. I'm sitting here looking at my notes.
Yeah, there's clips online from First Take and this show of you saying, I don't have Jalen Hurts in the top 10.
He get a little fired up. So that feels a little bit combative to me.
And again, I don't know the history of their show. I don't know if that was a big deal early on. He said there's clips surfacing.
Yeah.
It'd be like if Woods. Paul Skeen's not. I've never liked Paul Skeens.
I've never
He's
liked
not
Paul
even that good. I'd be
Skeens.
like, what are you talking about? You love Paul Skeens.
I've never said anything about Paul Skeens positively.
There's clips of you.
Never.
Though.
What? I've never said a word about Paul
love
Skeens. Paul Skeens.
Oh. Back in the day. So back in the day when I worked at the old 690, we had an imaging director named Milton Hines.
He's a legend.
He was the king of keeping the receipts and turning them into funny promos, including a legendary one from the NCAA tournament about 25 years ago. It was Duke against UConn in the final. And on Friday, Hacksaw, says during his Hacksaw's headlines,
yeah,
I'm picking the Duke Blue Devils to beat the UConn Huskies in the NCAA tournament final. And then when UConn wins on Monday, he goes, did I not tell you the UConn Huskies were going to win? So Milton just takes two of those clips, puts them together into one promo.
Amazing.
And completely calls
You've got a problem. Actually, I've got a problem.
On his absolute, 180 on the NCAA.
Yeah, you've got a problem.
You got a problem.
It was classic. It was funny.
It
was funny.
I bet you Hacksaw lost his mind when he heard that promo. Now, I would laugh at it hysterically because I've done this now, 7 years in sports radio. I've done 15 years on Saturdays, my 15 years on the air in San Diego. I'm very proud of that. 7 years in sports. Nobody thinks more highly of themselves than sports radio people, and it's actually embarrassing. And so I always wanted to make sure I never did that as much as I could. I know I've gone back on stuff. I know I've probably contradicted myself 1,000 times.
You wouldn't be human.
Yeah, you would not be.
You didn't either.
You would need
change your mind.
You would need a log. You would need
something.
You would need a big giant binder and be like, all right, let me go to the Phillies and see what I've said. No, I actually thought Rob is a good manager. Rob Thompson's a good manager. Well, you said here. I guess I said back in September I didn't think he was the right fit for the job. Right? I mean, you would need a ledger of all of this. And so, some of the guys that have done this before us, as you just mentioned, they were able to work without the luxury of the internet.
Fact-checking.
The internet did not exist. And hence...
But Milton did.
Milton exists. Milton was the internet. He was the internet that listened and went, I think you got that wrong, Playboy, right? Which I think is so good. If Paulie did a promo like that with me in it, I would pee my pants from laughing. I don't think it's the funniest thing I've ever heard. Ever.
Got into it with a guy I used to work with on a show. Because I was not that whipping boy producer that's just going to ignore blatant lies and untruths. You're like, prove it. You know what I mean? I'd call him out. And
yeah.
That's why we didn't get along.
That
That's
makes
why
my stomach
it didn't
hurt.
last very long. I'll never forget. We were sitting one time about 20 minutes before the show started one morning.
This is incredible.
We're in the studio, kind of little pre-show meeting. And all of a sudden, my man's looking at his phone and just, and we're like, what's going on?
What now?
I go, what's going on over there? And he goes, man, I don't know. Howard Stern's texting me right now. He wants me to come on the show this morning and talk some sports. I don't know if I should do it or not. And
I'm
go,
dying of cringe.
And
I'm
I just
dying
go,
of it.
let me see.
Show me.
I don't believe you.
Show me the text.
And he goes, can't find it.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, how insecure are you that you have to Howard Stern's texting me while he's live on the air in New York right now, wanting me to call in and talk some football.
Hang on. Pam Anderson's texting me right now, guys. Let me get back to her in the middle of the Reindl Report.
Hi, yes, Sydney Sweeney. I'm on the air. Can I call you back in about 15 minutes?
It's weird, man. It's a business full of absolute weirdos. So you would get mad if Paulie... I call you out all the time.
Yes, you do.
You don't get mad, do you? No. But you don't change your opinions very... It's not like that's... I would never see you... I could never see you saying... Because you've stuck with... I'm rolling with the Eagles.
Yeah.
If the Chiefs win, you're not going to come in and go, I told
the
you.
Chiefs were going to win. I'll own up to my errors because to err is human.
TRM1 says sociopath behavior. Does this surprise you that they do the poll every single year for the biggest sociopaths in the world as far as professions? And TV and radio, number one, every single year, and has been for the last 30 years, I'm pretty sure, the most sociopaths in business.
You have to be a little nutty to want to do this job.
Yeah, it's true. Put yourself out there like that.
All right.
That was so good, dude. That was so good.
Kind of just skip over the second story. There was a lot of speculation yesterday when the Logan Paul and Jake Paul posted
you can
what
say
looked
they're
like
gonna
a
fight.
fight promo.
Yeah, they were going to fight
each other.
They were face to face. It's the moment you all been waiting for with the HBO, the Max logo on it.
The brothers.
Turns out they're actually not fighting each other. There's a docu-series or some series coming out on HBO in a couple months. That's all I have to say about that.
All right. Thank you, Forrest Gump. That's all I have to say about that.
I wanted to save a few minutes because there's a big story that we have not addressed, and we got to do so, I guess, carefully. There is a young woman,
Paulie,
named Lily. I don't know if it's a sports thing. She works for OnlyFans. Is that like a sports?
That's not
website?
sports.
Sounds sportsy.
Fans only.
I thought at the onset it was some sort of sports site.
Of course you did.
Well, doesn't it
Ben
sound
signs
like
up. Is there a login somewhere for Ben Higgins?
Sounds like a daily fantasy site.
It's OnlyFans. Oh, there's fantasy, actually.
I find it hard to believe that anybody has not seen this story of what's going on. She wanted to do something.
Set a record.
Set a world record. She wanted to do this one thing 1,000 times with 1,000 different men.
Yeah, you get
in a 24-hour span.
If it was a sports website, I want to make 1,000 free throws in one day.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Guinness Book of World Records.
Right.
So while Lily was trying to set a world record of making 1,000 free throws in 24 hours,
right?
It turns out there's a bit of a curveball now that the U.S. Customs and Border Protection have reached out to her and said, not happening. She is from Great Britain.
Yeah, England.
She was in Las Vegas recently and was detained by the authorities there after they recognized her, which is a little odd, I guess. Like, hey, I know you.
I've seen
really?
you.
How do you know me?
I've seen you in the news.
They told her if she wants to go, she's on a travel visa, I believe,
right.
A work visa, and that if she goes through with what she had planned to do in Las Vegas, that she would never set foot on U.S. soil again. So she had to at least postpone, if not completely torpedo, her plans to do that.
I'm more interested in the math of it all.
Oh, a lot of people are.
So 1,000 divided by 24 hours.
Is that what you were doing on your phone? Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
Is 42 per hour.
Okay.
So obviously that would be once a minute with, like a 15 to 20 minute break every hour. Is that, how would you go about it? Like,
how would I go about it? If I was who?
I think that's a good point.
Which one am I? Because if I'm in her position, I don't want to go through with this. I don't even want to do one. I don't even want to make one free throw. Okay? But if I were her,
I mean, I don't think
it's one free throw out. One free throw
it's not,
out.
It's
one,
not.
No, it's not. No, you don't. Nope.
I think that is how it's
just one free throw
designed.
out. Yeah. One and out. One
so
free
you
throw.
could actually get
Not
quite,
two free throws.
quite
not
a bit
two.
more than 42 a minute at that
Yeah,
pace.
you could. 42 an hour.
42 an hour.
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
could.
at that pace.
Yeah, but who wants to do that?
You could take time for breaks and naps and meals and
Sure.
Yeah.
Gatorade if you're dehydrated. Something.
You'd have your
coconut water.
Corner, like in boxing, you get your corner men.
Oh, I think you said corn.
No, corn. Like corner.
Pause. I need a ear of corn. I'm feeling a bit peckish right now. I could use an ear of corn.
Order it for me off of Corn Hub.
Corn Hub. Yeah, I did see that story. It makes me sad, obviously. It makes me tremendously sad. Also makes me very glad that I have sons. And I thank God for that every single day. Not that they're any better, but it's a weird one. Yeah, cloud is a very powerful drug. I guess I didn't realize just how powerful that drug is. Maybe the most powerful drug is cloud. You see people doing some weird stuff these days for it. It is very, very strange.
Maybe I'm doing it wrong because I don't feel like it's all it's cracked up to be.
Same. Anytime I get any bit of attention, I hate it. I just want to run and hide in the corner. I'm like, Paulie, don't post anything don't post any YouTube clips. I don't feel like getting dragged today.
And even when
I
you
can't stand it.
And we get to do some cool things because of our positions, I still tend to feel guilty about it. It's like I don't even enjoy it generally because I don't know. Clout's not the greatest thing in the world.
No, it's definitely not, but hey, listen.
All right, before we go, got to
their
remind
own.
everybody, download the Odyssey app, listen to 97.3 The Fan for your chance to win the ultimate trip in the Slam Dunk in Vegas contest. Every hour you listen on the app to this station, you earn a daily entry into our national contest, the grand prize, travel and accommodations for a winner and 3 guests to Las Vegas, plus $5,000 for each person, $20,000 total to fund the ultimate viewing experience for the first 2 rounds of the College Basketball Championship Tournament. Andy and Elston are coming up next. We'll talk to you tomorrow at 6 a.m. For Woodsy and Paul, I'm Ben. Have a great rest of your Wednesday from all of us here at 97.3 The Fan.